gray, drizzly day, and it suits the mood of this arch rivalry. The lights are on, the temperature mild, 44 degrees, but cool and rainy conditions. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris here at Soldier Field, and believe me, the young players on the Green Bay Packers know all about that old rivalry. We spoke to several of them yesterday. They are pumped for this game. And last week, Randy Wright, with 3 touchdown passes, had his best game as a Packer, and they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Horace Gregg, his coach, feels maybe he's now got himself a quarterback. Well, Johnny Morris, the quarterback story is obviously right here in Chicago today.
It certainly is, Tim. Jim McMahon will be starting for the first time in 4 weeks. His shoulder is not 100%, and it won't be until he has an operation after the season. But Mike Ditka wants some spark on the offense, and he knows that Jim McMahon can provide it. In his last 22 starts, the Bears have won all 22 games. Of course, there's turmoil. What would the Bears be without turmoil? McMahon is a little bit upset at Mike Ditka for the acquisition of Doug Flutie. Some of the defensive players question McMahon's willingness to play, but they know once he gets out on that football field, he is a winner. The Packers know that, too, and they're going to test him early. They make no bones about it. They're going to blitz him. They're going to test his arm. They're going to test his shoulder and try and give him some hits. One thing for sure, when the Bears and Packers get together, you're going to have a barn burner. They're going to be hitting out there. Right, Tim?
I agree, and I think every player on the roster of each team agrees. Al Del Greco will be kicking it off. You're looking at him, number 10. And deep for the Bears, Thomas Sanders, a real speedster, along with Dennis Gentry. They can both fly and both waiting for their moment in the sun. And that day won't come until Walter Payton finally hangs it up, and the number 1 pick, Neil Anderson, probably feels the same way. We're ready to play football on a wet, gloomy day in Chicago. Perfect for the Bears and the Packers. Gentry from the 14. Tripped up at the 35 by Eddie Lee Ivory, or he might have gone the whole way. They'll spot it at the 40-yard line. Chicago first down at 27-yard return. Alfonso Carricker, Charles Martin, and Robert Brown will be after Jim McMahon. The linebackers, Tim Harris, the good-looking young rookie, Randy Scott, Brian Noble, and Bobby Leopold. And a tough physical secondary, Lee, Green, Stills, and Mossy Cade. Matsui on a screen. First down on the first play at the 50-yard line. Payton and Suey, the running backs. Willie Goff, Keith Ortego are the wide receivers. Emery Moorhead, the tight end. Solid offensive line. Colbert, Bort, Hilgenberg, Thayer, and Van Horn. Kurt Becker will also play some guard.
One thing for sure, the Bears didn't waste any time throwing the ball. It was not a long pass, but we're going to get an indication right away as to Jim McMahon's arm. He was throwing very well in practice on Thursday and Friday, but he didn't throw any bombers like 50 yards, 60 yards, or anything like that. But from 20 to 30 yards, he was very strong, Jim, so we'll see how that arm holds up.
Tiger Green is the first casualty of the game, the Packer defensive back. Out of the game on the first play, David Greenwood, number 49, in to replace him. Walter Payton, about 7. Greenwood made the stop, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. USFLer, number 49, who just came in, as we mentioned.
Walter Payton, coming off that dislocated toe a couple of weeks ago, had one of his better games. You can't hurt Walter Payton. 12 years now, he's missed only 1 game, and he is just something else. We'll talk about how he conquers injuries a little bit later in the telecast, but the Bears are moving right down the field. The Packers' defense has improved the last 5 games. They have stopped teams pretty well, allowing only 2.9 yards per carry on the rush, so we'll see how they do on this drive.
2nd and 4, they gave Payton 6 on his carry. Payton again. Into traffic at the line of scrimmage, got 2 yards to the 40-yard line. Robert Brown, number 93, tripped him up. It'll be 3rd down and a long yard for the Bears. The ball now at the 41-yard line of Green Bay.
Well, we have our first interesting play. 3rd and 1. They'll probably pile drive it. As you know, the Packers have changed their defense. They mixed their 4-man line now with a 3-man line, using Tim Harris, number 97, as the up lineman, sometimes as the down lineman. Numbers 97 is a key guy for the Packers. So here's our first crucial play.
Tiger Green back in defensively for Green Bay. Payton appears to have the first down. Seldom do you see him not get a yard in a situation like that. They went with the bread and butter and early fisticuffs. Downfield, Stills and Willie Galt having their little set-to. And Stills, the man you may recall from Game 2 a year ago, altercations with both McMahon and Matt Suey, a hit on Suey that really riled the Bears. And you can see referee Jerry Markwright, I suspect, is going to have a little huddle with these guys saying, let's keep it clean.
I don't know if he'll be very successful. These two teams don't like each other, but he is having accomplished with both teams. Let's take a look at Willie Galt. He's number 83, blocking on Stills 29, and then he takes him by the head and says, got the hammer lock. Then the old little defensive face mask. There's a nice little conversation they're having along the way. But Ken Stills is a hard hitter, aggressive type of football player, and the Bears haven't forgot some of the things he did last year, but they say the Bears did the same to them.
First down, McMahon going for Galt, and almost picked off, broken up by number 24, Mossy Cade.
Here it is, one-on-one. Mossy Cade, who just moved to the cornerback, he covered Galt very well. When a guy can run a 9-200 100-yard dash, Mossy Cade was right there and actually could have had the interception. Good play by Mossy, who's on the pressure. He's on the corner, and he's not really a cornerback.
Moved over from the safety position with the various injuries earlier in the season, and Cade so far has responded well. 2 interceptions to his credit, 54 tackles. He's a hitter. They got a lot of them on that Green Bay defense. 2nd and 10.
Make it go now. Make it good.
Intended for Galt, who slips, trying to come back to the ball. The pass was also not real good from Jim McMahon.
Well, we've had the question answered as far as Willie Galt and Jim McMahon are concerned. There was an article in Sports Illustrated where Willie Galt's wife, Denise, called Jim McMahon a fool, among other things, and the fact that he didn't throw to Willie Galt too much. And we were talking to Jim about it yesterday. He said, well, I'm not too mad about it. I don't have to throw to Denise anyway. I just have to throw to Willie, right?
And he's been throwing to Willie twice.
Twice,
last
so
2 plays.
I guess there's no hard feelings.
Gentry and Barnes are now in at the receiver spots, 3rd and 10, Chicago, inside the 40 of Green Bay opening series. Sliding in and tempting fate at the 30-yard line, 3 Packers to meet him, and meanwhile off the play, again a little pushing and shoving in the area of the Packers secondary. McMahon about 2 yards short with his scramble, leaving 4th and 2.
It looks like they're going to go for it. Butler certainly could kick one this far. It would be about a 46-yard field goal, but the Bears are going to go for it on 4th and 2. Mike Ditka, he's never been called conservative, even though sometimes they run the ball a lot, but he has always been, play cards with him and you know he's not conservative.
He's sartorially splendid today.
He certainly is.
Captain. Raincoat, 4th, a little less than 2. They're going. McMahon, a little jump pass intended for Suey, and he was off the mark. Now, oddly enough, Johnny, in watching him in practice, he seemed to have more trouble with his short passes than he did with those medium-range ones you described. And I guess that's that rust and lack of touch of game competition.
And I think he rolled left, too, which makes it more difficult for him. We'll be back in just a moment. No score.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, Soldier Field, Chicago. 11:04 to play. We've just watched the first offensive series by the Bears, ended with a 4th and 2 at the Green Bay 30-yard line, an incomplete pass. The Packers' first offensive play.
And it looks like the sun is trying to break through. The weather is improving in Chicago.
Defensively against Randy Wright, Hampton, McMichael, Perry, and Dent. The linebackers, Wilson, Singletary, and Marshall. Secondary of Richardson, Dewerson, Fensick, and Bestie Jackson, the good-looking rookie on the right corner. First down.
Audible.
Wright nearly stumbled. Interception. Loose ball. out of bounds. It'll be Chicago ball. Mike Richardson, his 6th intercept of the season.
Mike Richardson with his 3rd interception in 2 games. He's up there in the soft zone. Randy Wright obviously tried to call an audible, and you can see Richardson, 27. He just stayed in the short zone there, intercepted James Lofton, was the intended receiver, and Randy Wright, who has had a propensity for interceptions. He's had some good games, but he's also had 18 interceptions, and that was a critical one for the Green Bay Packers. In trouble now. Bears deep in Packer territory.
At the 32-yard line, 1st down. Slot formation to the right. Short drop from McMahon, complete. Immediate hit on Gentry by Mossy Cade, and holding him to about a 3-yard pickup at most. Dennis Gentry, a running back who is now a wide receiver with the Bears. And Mossy Cade, as we mentioned, having settled in at the corner very well for Green Bay.
Yes, Tim Lewis had that unfortunate injury earlier in the season, which necessitated the change. Look at a safety, New England leading 2-0.
There's a big one. We'll be tracking that for you. Denver and the Giants. 2nd down and 6. I formation this time for the Bears. Walter Payton. A picture-perfect cutback for the 1st down yardage. Ken Stills drove him out, but appeared to be traffic that would not allow him any room at all. Suddenly, he found that little crack and turned it upfield.
Well, that's what makes Walter Payton so great, because he waits for the blocks. He was in no hurry to cut up or no hurry to try and get outside. He waited for Suey to come back, kick out, and then turned up the field, found the crease, and got the gain and the 1st down for the Chicago Bears, as Walter Payton heading for 1,000 yards this year again.
9:46 coming into the game. 10 1,000-yard seasons already to his credit. Consecutively. And Suey inside the 15-yard line. We make one exception to that. 1982, the strike-shortened season, didn't make his 1,000 that year.
Well, that's the only reason that he didn't get it, was because there weren't enough games. And you may notice on Jim McMahon, he's decided to wear his gloves today. Just about the only quarterback I know of that wears gloves. It's hard to believe that you can throw the football that way, but I was feeling the glove yesterday. It has a little stickiness to it. You can hold on to that ball as long as it's not too cold.
2nd down and 6. Bears at the 15 of Green Bay. Matsui inside the 10, close to a 1st down. They'll have about a yard, and 3rd down. Mossy Cade and Tiger Green combining on the hit. Bobby Leopold getting into it, the linebacker. Matsui might be headed toward his least productive season as a Bear. Just 158 yards rushing. Hasn't had the ball as frequently.
Well, he split the duty with Calvin Thomas a lot more, but he's very valuable as a pass receiver and in tough yardage when you need it.
They need it here. 3rd down, a yard and a half. McMahon. The keeper is good for the 1st down. He is close to the 7-yard line of Green Bay. Well, Forrest Gregg himself indicated that Jim McMahon was a marked man today. He said his players had been reading his lips, is how Forrest put it, meaning they've been reading the clippings of McMahon comments, and on his radio show in Chicago had been critical of the dirty play that he described of the Green Bay Packers, and Forrest Gregg said, my guys are going after it.
He also made reference to the fact that he thinks that Jim McMahon talks a little bit too much out on the football field to his players, and they want to shut him up. So obviously hard feelings between these two teams.
1st and goal, Chicago, no score, 1st period. Suey dives over the 5-yard line. Met there by Tiger Green.
Tiger Green is one of those defensive players that has moved into the lineup. They've made so many changes on this Green Bay team, about 4 defensive changes, and since they made those changes with Green and moving Mossy Cade over and Tim Harris, Bobby Leopold, the defense has improved considerably. Now, I realize they're 2-9, but if you check the last 5 games, the Packers have played much better, Tim.
That's right, Johnny, and consider the loss of the likes of John Anderson, the linebacker, and Tim Lewis, 2 of their better defensive players. So, yes, credit to the young defense of the Pack. Dewey trying to pick his way this time. Gets to about the 2-yard line, running behind Covert and Becker.
And here comes the refrigerator, William Perry.
It was against Green Bay that Perry made his offensive impact last year. But with his weight problems continuing this season, Mike Ditka did not restore him to the offense until last week.
And he has lost 10 pounds. He was up to almost 340. He's down to about 330 now.
Yeah, that's like one bland muffin, though. Perry. And they stop him. And there's a little extra hit there, and the ball came loose. Who's got it? Packers say they have. And it is Green Bay ball. The French coughed it up.
Okay, let's see if we can see how the Packers emptied the refrigerator right here. He was coming full force. They got underneath him. The big thing you have to do with somebody that weighs that much is somebody hit him down there around the legs, and he couldn't get up. The ball comes loose. You can't see anything there. It's kind of tough to tell, but anyway, the bottom line is that the refrigerator fumbled, and Green Bay has it on their own 2.
Well, the French gets to stay out there and try and get it right back. Let's see what Randy Wright and company can do. Ken Davis gets out over the 5-yard line. The TCU rookie who has been improving with each start that he's been given in recent games by the Pack. 381 yards rushing coming into the game. Offensively for the Packers, Randy Wright with Kenneth Davis and Paulette Carruth. Lofton, Epps, the wide receivers, Ed West. For Dan Ross, we'll come back to that. Rutgers, Neville, Cannon, Hallstrom, and Weingrad. Randy Wright on his first play today had it picked off by Richardson.
There's 46 defense.
Carruth nowhere. Dan Hampton made the stop. It'll be 3rd down. No gain on the play. Still 7 to go for the Packers.
And you look at Dan Hampton, who went right over the center, Mark Cannon, as he shifted in there on the nose, and that signals the Bear 46 defense. But that defensive line of the Bears is very tough. Hampton is all over the place in there.
Dan Ross, the starting tight end for the Packers, came up with a stomach ailment this morning and is in hospital for observation. They don't know what it is, but they don't think surgery will be required. But Ed West became the starter. Davis dropped. Was he inside the end zone? Yes.
Unbelievable how Hampton and Wilbur Marshall got through there. As you can see, he didn't even reach the line of scrimmage. Just sneaked through there, Hampton, with nobody touching him. A mistake in the Packer offensive line. Hampton was right over the center, number 99. He beat the block, got through there, nobody touched him, made the safety. 2-0 Chicago Bears.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here at Soldier Field, where the Bears have taken a 2-0 lead on the safety by this man. Dan Hampton getting Ken Davis in the end zone, coming clean and dropping the rookie before he could get the ball over the goal line to prevent the score. And so the Green Bay Packers will have to punt. Don Bracken, number 17, standing at his own 15 and hits it from the 20. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line of the Bears. Flag down. That ball sails out. Illegal procedure as the preliminary signal there by Jerry Markbright.
I'm trying to think of what the illegal procedure would be when you're kicking after a safety. I guess maybe offsides.
Well, this Thursday, the Packers get right back into action. The traditional Thanksgiving Day game at Detroit against the Lions. And this will be the 15th Thanksgiving Day meeting between these two teams. You'll see it here on CBS Sports at 12 Eastern Time. The Detroit Lions with young Gary James starting to make an impact. Some talk about Chuck Long getting into the quarterback slot. And the Packers for the second game this week. This one bounces out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And the Chicago Bears will start from there. Bracken explaining to Coach Greg what makes his punts go left.
The reason that was taken back the first time was it's handled just like a kickoff, and it went out of bounds, so you are penalized the 5 yards. So this time he touched it, and so the Bears will take possession at that point. 32-yard line.
Lou Barnes got a hand on this one and just let it go off his hand out of bounds. So the Bears take over at their own 32. Calvin Thomas in the game, number 33, joining Peyton. Thomas hit as soon as he got the ball. A good defensive play by the rookie Tim Harris. Flag down on the play.
Well, it appears it's obviously going to go against Green Bay with some unnecessary roughness or something against the Bears, which will move the ball downfield for Chicago. I think Tim Harris is a little bit aggressive, and so is Robert Brown in on that tackle.
Harris, a linebacker at the beginning of the season, still playing some
We
there.
have a face mask foul. Number 97, defense. It's first down again. Not an automatic first down.
Harris, the man who grabbed the face mask, and they're using him as a down lineman and a linebacker now, and he's been very effective these last few weeks.
He had 2.5 sacks last week and a bunch of tackles, but you could see the face masking, so it's a first down for the Chicago Bears.
Harris working in the linebacker spot, formerly occupied by John Anderson. There's Greg, and he likes what Harris has been able to add in this dimension of what Greg says. You're going to see more of a mix of defenses. He's doing it. He's seeing it more around the league. Some 3-4, some 4-3. You have a guy like Harris. He fits that idea very well. He played as a down lineman and as a linebacker. McMahon swings it out for Moorhead, and Moorhead out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Got only about 3 on the play. Had no chance to turn it upfield by the time he made the catch. He was right at the sideline.
Emory Moorhead caught the big pass for the Bears against Atlanta last week. 85 yards, was tied the longest pass reception of the season in the NFL. As you look at this score, Cincinnati 7-3 over Minnesota. First quarter, Tommy Kramer is not playing. Detroit has taken an early lead over Tampa Bay.
Well, the Bears with their 13-10 victory over Atlanta, moving to 9-2 last week with a 3-game lead over the Vikings. And the Vikings trailing today. Second down. The long 7. Calvin Thomas picks up about 5 of that, gets out to the 40-yard line. There are 4 Packers all over him. Ryan Noble, the biggest of them, number 91. Underneath the stack, number 24, Mossy Cave.
And it was Brian Noble who really stacked it up and made the good play, because Peyton came right at him. He just threw him aside and made the tackle. Let's take a look at Willie Gault and Ken Stills, number 29. Kind of a replay of the first play. They keep grabbing each other's face masks. They're obviously after Willie Galt, trying to intimidate Galt.
3rd and 2 at the 40-yard line. Whistles everywhere. Flags down in Packer territory.
The 30-second clock, I think, had run out, and that's going to cost the Bears
Delay
5
game.
yards.
Number 9, offense, 3rd down.
Well, that might be a little rust, too, for McMahon.
Well, the Packers have threatened to blitz. They haven't blitzed all that much so far in this game, but McMahon is a quarterback who says, I love teams to blitz, because he calls so many audibles. He's such a smart quarterback, and he says, let them blitz. I want them coming. I'm going to dump the ball, and we'll kill them if they blitz.
McMahon passing at 55% on the season. 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Back after 3 games out with that shoulder injury.
Here they come.
Incomplete. Had it been caught, would have been out of bounds, intended for Dennis Gentry. And again, that little short pass being more of a problem for McMahon in the early going than the longer ones.
The ironic thing is that 2 or 3 times that he's rolled out, partial rollouts, he's gone to the left. With being the right-handed quarterback and with the sore shoulder, you'd think he would try and roll out to the right a little bit more, but they have their reasons.
Maury Buford's first punt of the day for the Bears, who lead 2-0. Walter Stanley waits for it at the 20-yard line. Blocked. Packers inside the 20 of the Bears. Tiger Green, number 23, came in clean, and a big defensive play gets the first down. Green Bay at the 19 of the Bears.
And you talk about coming in clean. Look at number 23, Tiger Green. He's right in the middle, comes in right off the center, comes straight up the middle, and nobody picks him up. He puts the block on. The Packers have a big break. They're down to the 19-yard line, and boy, did they let him through. And there was one of the Bear remaining backs who should have knocked him before he went out. It was a mistake, as Tiger Green, one of the new men in that defensive lineup, does the job.
Great opportunity for the Packers. Down by 2. First period. Caruth and Davis, the running backs. Davis tackled behind the line, shakes it off, and battles for about 5. Good effort by the rookie from TCU. Their number 1 choice. Said yesterday what he's really recognized in the pros as compared to his college days is that instead of being 2 or 3 guys who can run as fast as he can on the field, almost everybody can.
That's right. Everybody on that play, because the Bears blitzed everything, and actually only an individual effort by Davis avoided a 5-yard loss. Randy Wright's the guy that's on the spot now after that interception he threw early in the game.
2nd and 6, Packers. Davis again. Stopped this time at the line of scrimmage. The force led by Dewerson, and then Dan Hampton ranging over with Richard Dent to pull him down.
We have another little scuffle downfield. Wilbur Marshall was involved in that one, number 58, with one of the Packers. And you talk about an intense football player. Now let's watch number 58, Wilbur Marshall. He's on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He chases over there because that's what they're taught to do, keep chasing in case somebody cuts back. And boom. Was that Lofton?
Ed West.
Ed West.
3rd down, Green Bay. Epps in motion.
Blitz.
Wright unloaded a little too soon with that blitz from Singletary. Stanley, the only man on that side of the field, but not headed in the direction of the ball.
Mike Singletary, who had that pulled groin for a couple of weeks, that kept him out of the lineup, but he got through Scott clean that time, and Wright did a good job of just getting rid of the ball.
Had an interesting series of events here for a 2-0 game.
Yes.
The Bears going on 4th down and 2 at the Green Bay 30. An incomplete pass, and then an interception on the first Packer play. This is Al Del Greco from the 24-yard line. And it is wide to the left. Del Greco.
Al Del Greco misses, and he had so much success against the Bears in the first game, Monday Night Football, a few weeks ago, early in the season. He kicked 4 long ones against the Bears.
Del Greco himself can see that he has missed the 34-yarder. It's still 2-0 Bears.
Share your Thanksgiving with John Madden and Pat Summerall as the Green Bay Packers take on the Detroit Lions. It all starts with the NFL Today Thanksgiving on CBS Sports.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Soldier Field. A sellout, as you might expect, for the Super Bowl champion Bears in a rather strange first quarter against Green Bay. The Bears lead at 2-0 on a safety by Dan Hampton, trapping Ken Davis. First down, Chicago. Walter Payton driven out of bounds, well strung out defensively. And it's number 22, Mark Lee, with Randy Scott, who forced him out of bounds after a gain of 3. We started to tell you about some of the strange events in here that have resulted in this. No yards for Green Bay, 65 for Chicago. The Pack has rushed it 5 times for 0 yardage and not been able to hit on a pass. Now, what happened on the first down after the interception by Richardson of the Bears, Perry fumbled at the goal line. The Packers recovered. Then Hampton scored a safety. Then we had a blocked punt. All kinds of unusual activity. And this time, a host of Packers stack up Walter Payton for a loss of about a yard.
The Packers brought everybody but the kitchen sink that time. Carricker was in on it, Tiger Green, Noble. Just filling the gaps. Had it been a pass, they would have had the blitz on. Sometimes the blitz is so much more effective against the run than it is the pass.
It certainly was there. It turns into about a 2-yard loss. It will leave 3rd and almost 10 to go. These were the Giants. Battle involving both those outstanding teams. They're tied at 3. Man on 3rd down. Intended up the middle for Gentry. Well covered by number 28, Albert Watts, the nickelback. And again, the Bears will have to punt.
And did you notice once again he rolled to the left rather than to the right? Every time he's rolling left, and they weren't doing that much in the practice this week, so I don't know if it has some kind of effect on his shoulder situation, the way he is motioned. We'll be back.
Beginning the second period at Soldier Field, we have not seen a scintillating display of offense thus far. 2-0 Bears, and they are now punting. Maury Buford standing at his 5-yard line. Walter Stanley, the return man for the Pack. Buford with an average of 41.2 on the season. Fine kick by Buford. Stanley waves fair catch at the Packer 27-yard line. Well, football today, football Thursday, and through the weekend. Thanksgiving Day, we'll see the 15th meeting of the Packers and the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. The Pack 3-10-1 against the Lions, who have that home advantage, obviously. 12 noon Eastern time. And then Friday, college football. The Maryland Terrapins. Young Dan Henning, the quarterback at Maryland, against Virginia. He's the son of Atlanta coach Dan Henning. And then Saturday, it'll be the Fighting Irish and the USC Trojans, one of the great rivalries.
That's always a good game.
First down, Green Bay at the 27-yard line of the Packers. Wright trying to go deep to Epps and overthrows everybody. On the coverage, Bessie Jackson, the rookie from Washington, who has taken that spot away from Reggie Phillips.
As you can see, they threw on first down, and here is the problem for Green Bay. They have not had a running game all year. Last week, they rushed for 154 yards, their best rushing game, but they do not have a great running attack. Well, the Bears are strong against the running attack, so you don't figure that Green Bay can establish any kind of running game. So then they're forced into the passing situation. If you're going to throw, you might as well start throwing on first down. Wouldn't you say?
And they did.
And they did.
Wright is 0 for 3 with an intercept. He threw on first down the first time he had the ball. 2nd and 10. Deep again. Intended for Lofton, overthrown. Once more. It'll be third down. Well, let's take this time out. Take you to Brent Musburger in New York for an NFL update.
Well, Tim, down in Cincinnati, the Bengals on a third down blitz get picked off, and Darren Nelson walks in for a Viking touchdown. It's 14-10 Cincinnati, but the Bengals have returned the kickoff deep into Viking territory. They're threatening again. Let's go back to Tim and Johnny.
We are back at Soldier Field, where you see the unusual score. 2-0 on the Hampton safety. Third down, Packers. Phillip grabbed by the ankle by Wilbur Marshall, held to about a 7-yard gain, and they will have to punt.
They tried to throw underneath the coverage there. There was no blitz by the Bears underneath the linebackers, and I thought Wilbur Marshall was going to take the two legs and make a wish for Thanksgiving there for a second. He got a hold of Epps' leg because Epps tried to come back around here. He grabs a hold of that leg and says, make a wish. But he stopped the first down.
Rockin's punt. Taken by the little guy, Lou Barnes. Forced out at the 30-yard line. I'm not sure what that is except Swiss cheese, I assume.
Your guess is as good as mine.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Lite, proud sponsor of NFL Lineman of the Year. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite. Honda, who invites you to experience the Prelude SI at your local Honda dealer. And by Unisys, the combined power of Sperry and Burroughs. Unisys, the power of two.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Soldier Field in Chicago. The usual boisterous crowd cheering on their Super Bowl champs. One of our experts on things of Wisconsin tells us that Swiss cheese we saw there earlier refers to a cheese head. Somewhat, is that a derogatory term intended so, evidently, for citizens of Wisconsin? That gentleman may have a problem getting out of the stadium. First down. Chicago. Complete. Ortego dropped the ball. Now, did he have it? No. Incomplete. Ortego had the ball and was probably hoping it was ruled a completion, a fumble, and a recovery, but it was not.
No such luck. He had a lot of room down there as he drove him off, came across the middle. McMahon did a good fake and had plenty of time to throw the ball, and Keith Ortego, his greatest strength is he catches the ball. Well, that time he did not catch it. The old fundamentals, bring it into the breadbasket and hang on. Keith Ortego, they call him White Lightning.
Ortego from McNeese State, Louisiana boy, Cajun, and quite a good story of free agent making starting wide receiver spot on the Super Bowl champs. 2nd and 10. McMahon forced from the pocket will run it, a lot of room. Diving in at the 47 of Green Bay.
Brought down by Leopold.
This is what Jim McMahon does so well. He's so alert, knows where the pass rush is. If nobody is open, he takes off, and you see he still has the quickness. And the thing he did, Leopold, 53, Bobby Leopold was coming for the hit, and watch McMahon at the last second just dip under it right there and avoided the contact, came down on his left shoulder, which is not the sore one. So he's very conscious of everything he does on that football field. He's a proven winner when he gets out there and plays.
23-yard run by Jim McMahon. First down in Packer territory. Matt Suey behind Van Horn, and Thayer picks up about 3. Brian Noble made the stop. Mark Bortz had to leave the game earlier with a recurrence of an ankle injury that bothered him last week in the Atlantic game. And Kurt Becker has been in at the left guard spot. But Mike Ditka plans to use Becker for both Bortz and Thayer anyway. He's really got 3 starting guards.
He regards them as interchangeable. And so is that hat he's got on.
What do you
It
suggest?
just doesn't look right in that hat.
2nd and 7. At the 45-yard line. Payton. Loose ball, and it might be a Packer recovery. Payton was there for the first down yardage, but the Packers have the ball. Randy Scott. Looked like Payton got turned around on his back with the ball exposed here, Johnny.
It should have been a big play because the Packers blitzed up the middle. There wasn't that much pursuit, but as he made his contact here, he usually hangs on pretty well, but it was jolted loose. Or Randy Scott, 55, right there, reaching down for it, and he has got it. Green Bay comes up with another critical turnover. That's 2 recovered fumbles, one on the 2-yard line, and this one when the Bears were driving again. So they're taking advantage of whatever break they can get to stay in this football game.
The Packers with 2 fumble recoveries and a blocked punt, but nothing to show for it so far. Right play action. Philip Epps, first down, and Epps in pain. Looked like he just turned his ankle or his knee before any contact was made. Philip Epps, and what a loss that would be. The dangerously fast receiver, number 85. 47 catches coming into the game. And
Boy.
I think this was a non-contact injury.
Yeah, he was in pain. It looks like he might have twisted the knee, got his foot caught as he tried to slow up for the ball. And Randy Wright with the completion hit him right on the nose, a little bit behind him. Now he reaches back. Oh, boy. Oh, that's a... You know, the leg and the bones were just twisted the way they weren't supposed to be. And I don't know if it's more the ankle or the knee. They seem to be feeling the ankle. Tough break for Green Bay.
We'll be back. 12 minutes to go, first half. Well, the good news is that Philip Epps made it off the field under his own power. But the bad news is he's in some pain and receiving attention. The first down made by the Packers, the reception by Philip Epps. And you can see that offenses have not dominated. The Bears, 95 yards to 19. That's total yardage, folks. And Chicago had the ball 12 minutes and 30 seconds of the first quarter and turned up only 2 points on a defensive play. Hampton trapping Ken Davis in the end zone. That will not make this man smile. Inside the 50-yard line, Chicago territory, Packer first down. Ken Davis for 2. Let's go to Brent Musburger for an update on the Minnesota game.
Well, Tim, after Minnesota scored a touchdown, this is what happened on the kickoff. It wound up in the hands of the rookie speedster from Tennessee, Tim McGee. He almost broke it. 94-yard kickoff return. It set up another Cincinnati touchdown. That was a 5-yard run by Stanley Wilson. So it is 21-10 Bengals. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent, it appears the Vikings' playoff hopes are fading. They're still trying to get a wild card spot, but down to the Bengals. Here comes Marshall, and the ball right in and out of the hands of Dan Hampton. Randy Wright could smell or hear the hot breath of Wilbur Marshall, and he unloaded that ball in a hurry. And Hampton, I think, was surprised to have the ball right there in his mitts.
Wilbur Marshall is so quick, and Randy Wright, you are correct. He could feel Marshall coming. Nobody blocked him. All the backs went up in there tight, and here comes Marshall, 58. Wright did a good job of getting the ball off, and it went right into Dan Hampton's hands. He could have, had he hung on to the ball, he would have rumbled for him a touchdown. Boom, boom. But he's got all that stuff on his hands. It's pretty tough to catch the football.
Went right off the hardware, too. I think it hit him right in the face guard.
And he's got the hardware, the tape, and everything.
3rd and 9. Gary Ellis in it.
Here they come again.
Right, quick pass intended for Lofton, incomplete. A flag down. Probably a late hit on Wright. Hampton, Dent, Marshall, all in on the Packer quarterback. And now the Packers throwing the flag in the direction of Dent. Referee Mark Wright will make the official flag call.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer, number 95, defense, first down.
Richard Dent, the off-season artist, did a little extra paint job on Randy Wright.
Well, you can see 95 there. There is a Ken Rutger 75 blocking on Dent, and Wright gets the pass off, and then Dent gives him the old shot. I would say it's the correct call.
No doubt.
But the Bears are getting through Scott and clean, aren't they? I mean, just slick and clean as you can make it. Marshall coming up the middle. They get Singletary through there.
It is first down, Green Bay. Chicago 33. Wright going deep, has a man, and it's incomplete, intended for Stanley. Walter Stanley had a step, and Wright threw it about a yard too far for the speedster from Chicago South Shore High School.
Well, Walter Stanley is the guy who can make things happen. He's great on returns, and he has the speed to go along with it. And actually, Wright was under such pressure. That was a pretty good pass, considering the pressure that he was under. He just barely got rid of the ball. But Walter Stanley can do a lot of things, and they don't lose a lot. I mean, sure, you lose a lot when Epps is hurt and can't play, but Stanley's got quickness and speed, too. And it's going to hurt them on third down situations when they have all three of their wide receivers in.
Second man, Ken. Stanley in Epps' spot now with the injury to Epps. Intended for Davis, intercepted by Wilbur Marshall. Second interception of the day by Randy Wright. And for Wilbur Marshall, his fourth pickoff of the season.
Just not the right touch for Randy Wright. Wilbur Marshall's running with Davis, a linebacker running with him, and he's right there with him. And the pass was a little bit short. Marshall on the play. The Bears stop Green Bay.
10:47 to go, first half, 2-0 Bears.
Friday, the Terrapins of Maryland meet Virginia. And on Saturday, Lou Holtz leads Notre Dame against full-bound rival USC. A holiday weekend of college football on CBS Sports.
Wilbur Marshall, his fourth interception of the season. Happy about that play. What an athlete he is.
He certainly is. No linebacker has more interceptions this year. And the Bears are piling up the interceptions. Dave Duerson, who was standing next to him, has 6.
First down, Chicago. High formation from their own 17. Tim Reitman, the tight end, comes wide to the right. A little unusual look. Suey. Met by Randy Scott, gets about 5. Suey seeing a little more running activity than he has been getting.
And that was one of the reasons there. He met Randy Scott head on and went forward another 2-3 yards. So Matsui having one of his better days so far. That time they put the tight end Reitman way out and had Mark Lee on a mismatch because Lee covering the tight end. Then they had Gentry at the other wide receiver. What they're doing is setting up a mismatch on the coverage. If the Packers continue to put Mark Lee, one of their fast cornerbacks, on Tim Reitman.
McMahon is 4 of 10 for only 13 yards in his return to action. We have 10:04 to go, first half. Gets lots of time trying to find a man and elects to run. Into the jaws of the Packers again at the 40-yard line. And Alfonso Carricker and Randy Scott stopped him. A first down, Chicago.
Okay, on the replay, you'll see number 83 is Willie Gauld. He goes down the field and across. Now, McMahon is flushed out of the pocket. Now, Gault appears to be open. However, there is linebacker coverage underneath. But Willie says, hey, throw me the ball. But McMahon decides to run, and it was very interesting what McMahon did. He didn't go out of bounds, did he, Tim? He didn't head for that sidelines. He turned up the field and took his chances for the extra yards. So Mike Ditka can't get him to change.
51 yards. He's leading the rushers. 4 carries for 51 yards. First down. Sideline complete. Dennis Gentry battles and has a first down in Packer territory where Bobby Leopold ties him up. Dennis Gentry, with the acquisition of Neil Anderson, the #1 pick from Florida, and Thomas Sanders coming on so well in his second year, they've moved Gentry out to the wide receiver spot. He had been Peyton's caddy for about 4 seasons.
Well, he's getting to do more things this way. Of course, Dennis McKinnon not coming back this year was one of the reasons he moved. So with Gentry and Ortego, they've done okay at that other wide receiver spot. But the key again was McMahon. You see how he floated in that pocket so nicely?
That zip on that ball out to the sideline. 5 of 11. First down. Chicago, 49-yard line. Tipped, intended for Suey. A Packer got a hand on it. That'd have been Robert Brown getting the paw up there.
And Brian Noble was in there and gave McMahon a little bit of a shot after he threw the ball.
Robert Brown, number 93, and Jim McMahon checking the signal.
Well, he's taking the signal in from the sidelines, but you can figure about half the time that's not going to be the play it's going to be called. He'll call audibles whenever he wants and has been successful. I've heard Mike says, well, as long as he's successful, we'll go along with it.
2nd and 10. Clayton then dropped incomplete. Ball was right in the midsection of Matsui, but so was a Packer on his back. I believe Big Tim Harris, number 97, Randy Scott there, and he couldn't hold on.
You'll see Matsui just come right out of the backfield and into this short zone, and he's supposed to catch those guys. Number 26, and he gets hit by Randy Scott first, and Bobby Leopold was there.
3rd and 10. Pettiest defensive players. He was pumped for this game. His teammates told us. You see that little towel on his belt there with the numbers of the Bears on it that he had to deal with. And right at the top is number 9, Jim McMahon. Well, he may have gotten McMahon, but he got himself ejected from the game.
McMahon appears to be okay. He's throwing on the sidelines and testing the shoulder, but he obviously was shaken up. This stadium has gone a little bit berserk.
Now, meanwhile, Mark Lee's interception stands. With the penalty, they'll have first down from their own 25. McMahon appears to be all right. But if there's such a thing as a sucker punch in football, we saw it demonstrated there because Martin actually came from behind Jim McMahon, who was looking downfield at the interception. The play well over, as you can see on the replays we showed you. And that's a case of a guy getting himself a little bit too high for the game.
I think referee Jerry Markbite was trying to explain to Forrest Gregg that what happened and that he doesn't want it to happen again.
Well, we saw Richard Dent there. It was not on your picture, but pointing at the Packers, and surely we're going to see some more rough stuff before.
I wonder if Randy Wright's nervous.
The Bear faithful making it impossible for Wright to call a signal. What's the score? 2-0. 7:55 to play in the first half. We have had a lot of things happen, but not much of it in the end zone.
2-run homer for Dan Hampton is the difference in this game right now.
Now the Bears trying to calm their crowd and get the play going. And Dent still gesticulating and no doubt offering some editorial comments to the Packers. Well, a first-year man from Alabama gets to pay the price. Paul Ott Carruth. Welcome to the Packer-Bear rivalry, Paul Ott.
Yes, and the refrigerator got in on that one. He is upset. Paul Ott Carruth now knows the rivalry. He knows what it means.
Second, a little more than 10. Busted play. Timeout has to be called. If that had developed, Randy Wright would have found himself all alone.
Green Bay.
The two running backs were moving in opposite direction, leaving Randy Wright naked. The man with no clothes on said, "Timeout, get me out of here." So with a timeout on the field, we still have 7:09 to play. 2-0 Chicago.
There you get a look at Charles Martin's towel there. Number 9 was at the top of his list. And then he had 34, Walter Payton. Some of them he's not going to get a shot at.
Why
is he going to get golf?
Gentry and golf, he'd have to do a lot of running to catch up with those guys. And he'll have to do a lot more because he'll be watching the rest of this from the sideline. Second and 10.5. Randy Wright still with difficulty because of the crowd noise.
The Bears are shifting their defense around all before the snap, moving the linemen to over and unders and moving the linebackers around too. And so I think it's confusing Randy Wright a little bit.
Well, we'll give you one more look at the slam dunk here by Charles Martin.
With the official right there watching, McMahon just caught completely by surprise.
And there is Martin now leaving the premises. Second and 10. Wright will try again. Tough spot for this young quarterback. Almost intercepted by McMichael. Intended for Kim Davis. Steve McMichael. Randy Wright is rattled, no question.
McMichael thought he was going to get into the scoring column. He's on offense down on the goal line, just along with the refrigerator. He's played very well on defense. He has 7 sacks. He's one of those guys that gets him 100%, and the Bear defense is obviously sky high now after that incident.
Randy Wright is 2 for 10, 19 yards, 2 interceptions. Coming off a solid week against the Bucks. But that was the Bucks last week. This was the Bears, Super Bowl champions, #1 defense in the NFL.
Here they come.
Dent. First sack of the day by the Bears, Richard Dent. 7.5 on the season.
The sack man, number 95. He gets around Rutgers and just runs down Randy Wright from behind. And when you rile up a Richard Dent, watch out because he has 2 speeds.
Bracken it blocked. Loose ball in the end zone. Touchdown. Dennis Gentry. John Gale made the block. Gentry made the recovery. And the Bears' first touchdown, like their first points, comes on a non-offensive play.
Take a look for Sean Gale. He is number 23. He comes from the outside, went across in front of Bracken, blocked the punt. Everybody's after it, and Dennis Gentry recovers for the Bears, and it goes to show you it never pays to do something like Charles Martin did. He has cost the Green Bay Packers plenty.
Kevin Butler's point after. And the Bears go up 9-0. Second block punt of the day, won by each team. Watch number 23.
Sean Gale coming from the left. He went across in front of the punter. His angle was correct, and that was the key to blocking that punt. And, of course, usually when that happens, somebody from the defense will recover it because everybody's running towards it, whereas the offensive team is running the opposite direction. So Sean Gale comes up with a big play. He's in a little bit more on the Bears' third down defense, some too, playing on the nickel situations, although he hasn't been in that much today.
Well, we've had some unusual happenings in this game, and we've got more activity for you later this afternoon on CBS Sports. Our NFL coverage will include Dallas and Washington in a big, important battle in the NFC East. Some of you will see Atlanta at San Francisco, and for the 49ers, a critical game, and Atlanta trying to stay alive in that Wild West division. And likewise, the Saints and the Rams. Well, in the East, you see Washington and the Giants tied at 9-2, and the Giants battling in a tight one with Denver. Dallas at 7-4. Big game for them today. And in the West, well, the most interesting division in the entire league these days. They're all bunched up with a surprising showing by the Saints, and Atlanta fighting to stay alive. San Francisco with a victory today could really make things interesting at the top.
Do you know it's actually possible for New Orleans to be tied for first after today's action?
Isn't that something? You got to love that. What a job they've done down there. Jim Finks, the general manager, the former Bear boss, and his coach Jim Mora from the USFL. From the 4-yard line, Walter Stanley. Rupp at the 12. Neil Anderson, the number 1 pick, the running back, who's been doing an outstanding job on the Bears' special team.
He certainly has. He had a good game last week. He doesn't want to be playing special teams. He wants to be at running back, but, you know, when you have Walter Payton there, you're not going to get too much time in there. But he's playing like a number 1 draft choice, but it's on special teams mostly. Pittsburgh-Cleveland, 14-14.
Look at this one, 6-3. 3 field goals in that defensive struggle between the Broncos and the Giants, and we've had defense here. Absolutely no offense. First down. Packers. Randy Wright will try it again. Ken Davis for about 3 yards to the 15-yard line of Green Bay. At the bottom of the stack is Hampton and Singletary. Wilbur Marshall all in on it.
I think it's apparent, Tim, that the Packers are not going to be able to run the ball up the middle against Chicago. I mean, they're just not moving anybody in that defensive line. They've got to go another direction.
4 yards, the best they've been able to accumulate. 6:03 to go first half. And yet Forrest Gregg told us that we've got to run the ball some, or we can't pass it. Davis. Forced out by Mike Richardson. No gain, indeed a loss of a yard. Well, for the Packers, some dismal happenings. 2 pickoffs, a block punt, and a safety. And the 9 points on the scoreboard represented right there.
And the Bears were number 1 on defense going in to this game, and the Packers don't have very many yards, and they're in a situation now, 3rd and long. Boy, it's going to be Katie bar the door. Watch out.
Gary Ellison at running back, Eddie Lee Ivory at wide receiver. Right in a short drop at the shotgun. And unloads in a hurry, intended for Ellis. And again, a little extracurricular activity. Dent. And number 72, Tom Neville. Hampton trying to cool off Richard Dent.
And you know, Richard Dent's personality is he doesn't get riled up too much. He's a great football player, but he doesn't get upset. He is upset down on the football field.
4th down, Green Bay. Bracken standing at his goal line. The Bears look like they're coming again. Bracken, good job to get it away. Lubar out of bounds at the 36-yard line of Green Bay. Paul Ott-Farouk steered him out. A 33-yard punt by Bracken. And the Bears in excellent field position. Well, next Sunday, doubleheader action again on CBS Sports. And look at that first tilt. The Rams, the young Jim Everett at quarterback now against the Jets, who have won 9 in a row but has some real trouble defensively with injuries. Or some of you will see the Redskins at St. Louis in a huge game for the Redskins. All the remaining games in that battle in the NFC East. Philadelphia at the Raiders. Big one in the second game of the day, and some of you will be seeing Atlanta and Miami. McMahon is back out at quarterback. Calvin Thomas for 5. Brian Noble on the stop. Noble back inside, I think, has become the real force that they expected him to be. A little better inside than outside, and Forrest Gregg, I think, is planning on leaving him in there because the big kid from Arizona State at 250 pounds, 6'4", is quite a force inside.
And Donnie Humphrey is in there at the nose tackle.
Humphrey, number 79, replacing the ejected Charles Martin. Calvin Thomas straight ahead as the first down.
And there was a classic example of the confrontation between Jay Hilgenberg and Donnie Humphreys, who had just come into the game one-on-one. And Hilgenberg made the block, stood him up straight, and Thomas was able to get the yardage. So Donnie Humphreys, who hadn't played all that much in recent weeks, is going to get plenty of action in there. Good football player.
Number 2 pick in '84 from Auburn. Martin having nailed down the starting spot at nose tackle. First down from the 25-yard line. 9-0 Bears. McMahon to Thomas off his fingertips. Ball was there, but Thomas couldn't haul it in. On the coverage, number 29, Ken Stills. Second and 10 Bears from the 25-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. 4:12 remaining here in the first half. An unusual half of play, to say the least.
You know, one of the reasons the Bears, as you see the signals coming in, Jim McMahon causes so much controversy, but, you know, and he's always talking back and getting into bits with Mike Ditka. Some of the other players say, well, that's one of the reasons we respect him. We're afraid to buck Mike Ditka, and he does it.
Does it for us.
Yes.
Tough surrogate.
Yeah.
Second and 10. Good time for McMahon to Moorhead, and it may be picked off. Yes, Mark Lee by make it Tiger Green, number 23. Tiger Green with a fine interception. That ball was right there, and Green just stole it away from Emory Moorhead.
It was a super play by Green because it looked like he was beat, and he turned on a burst of speed at the last second and just stole it right out of the hands of Emory Moorhead. Let's watch Moorhead coming across, and then McMahon puts it, and it looked like a picture play, touchdown, and here comes 23 at the last second. He just gained the ground. The pass was a little bit short, and Green hung on to it and made the interception. So the defense comes up with the key play as Tiger Green. He doesn't want us to call him George. He said, I'm Tiger Green.
Tiger Green has a block punt and an intercept to his credit. He's doing his job in this first half. And the second interception of the day by the Green Bay Packers.
I'm not sure the Packers want to be on their own 2-yard line against this Bear defense.
Randy Wright has been looking a long way upfield since the game began. Perut gets about 3 for him. Make it Kenny Davis, 36, Ken Davis, the ball carrier. He had a pickup of about 4. He'll leave second and 6. Such a tough job for a quarterback, any quarterback, but especially a young one who becomes a starter, his first year as a starter, having to have this look every time he comes out over the ball. That's where he's been the entire half.
Hampton has moved right over the center. Mark Cannon, 99.
Davis slipped, but there was nowhere to go anyway. He got about a yard, if that. It'll be third down. Third down, still close to their goal line, and shortly, with 3:04 remaining in our first half, we'll take you to New York. Brent Will and Mark Mosley will be the guests, the former Redskin kicker. Scores and highlights, of course, and a special feature on Steve Pallure with Ann Butler meeting the newest leader of the Dallas Cowboys. Third down and 6. Stanley wide to the left. From the end zone, good pass, complete to Lofton. Lofton just got the first down. Depending on the spot, he's right at the marker. A balletic move by Lofton as he saw the marker and tried desperately to get the first down before he stepped out.
It's going to be very close on the measurement. It looks like he might have been a little bit short. He did his best as there's somebody down on the field, one of the Chicago Bears. Very, very close.
Wilbur Marshall is the injured Bear. On his rush toward Randy Wright, something went awry, and he's being attended to in the Packer end zone. Lofton, a great job to try and get to the first down marker. Gary Fensick offering his opinion as they attend to Wilbur Marshall. Fensick chatting with referee Mark Wright, suggesting that it was short of the marker, but they have advanced it. A Packer first down.
Well, this would be a crucial blow to the Bears if Marshall is seriously hurt.
Marshall, their number one choice in '84, has literally gotten better game by game, hasn't he, Johnny? And I think even Vince Tobin, the new defensive boss here, has appreciated his many talents and starting to use him in several ways.
He's using him more in the style of how Buddy Ryan used him, blitzing from different spots and taking advantage of him. He is so quick and such a great athlete. The Bear linebackers all are very good athletes.
Marshall with an interception already this half is on his feet and tells the crowd, I'm all right.
He's okay. His goal, he said, is for all three Bear linebackers, Wilson, Singletary, and Marshall, to be in the Pro Bowl.
Meanwhile, Lofton's fine reception and move has a first down for Green Bay, and Al Harris comes in to replace Wilbur Marshall. Harris, number 90. Intended for Lofton, high, no chance. Wright shaking his head, knowing he sailed that ball. Wind has come up here in the second period, and Randy Wright, 3 of 13, may have had a little trouble with the wind on the last play. Going behind him now.
Right, the wind is behind him, and I think he was on the right track there. First down play, there you can basically get a man-for-man situation because they're going to have trouble throwing on second and third and long against the Bears. You've got to throw on first down. There's Marshall getting taped up.
Second and 10. Packers at their own 12. Who's sacked? Dan Hampton. Wright did not even get a chance to set up. He was just making a little roll to the right, and he ran right into Hampton.
Okay, Hampton is not over the nose of the center now. As you see the rollout, he comes from the outside there, and nobody got a block on him, and boom, down goes Randy Wright as Dan Hampton gets his 6th sack of the season, 7th of the season.
We have a timeout on the field as we approach the 2-minute mark, but we still have 26 seconds to that marker, and gives us an opportunity to remind you how to plan your Thanksgiving dinner. Started at 12 noon with the Packers and the Lions. You know, I was chatting with Lee Remmel, the public relations director of the Green Bay Packers, about this game and its history, and they played from 1951 to 1963, always in Detroit, the Packers and the Lions. Vince Lombardi finally said, hey, enough's enough. We've been doing our share. We go in there, we give them the home field advantage, and we usually get beat. So he was the one who broke up the long tradition, but they have renewed it. Friday, college football. And a lot of you will have Friday off on this Thanksgiving weekend, so at 2:30 Eastern Time, we've got the Maryland Terrapins and the Cavaliers of Virginia in ACC action. And we hope that you'll be able to see the college game on Friday and then just make it a doubleheader. Watch the Fighting Irish and the Trojans on Saturday, one of the long and great rivalries in college football. Irish outlucked again last night by LSU, and
but I think Lou Holtz is going to he's going to do the job there.
I think so too. On Sunday afternoon, the Rams and the Jets in NFL action. Some of you will see Washington at St. Louis, the Raiders and the Eagles, Atlanta or Miami in the doubleheader game. A glut of football activity, Thursday through Sunday. On third down, the pass complete to Lofton, but well short of first down yardage. He got about 4 yards, and they will have to punt. Dewerson made the tackle. Approaching the 2-minute marker, Bracken from the end zone, and like Randy Wright, he has not had a very pleasant view of the football field at Soldier Field today. And we've reached the 2-minute warning. The Packers, poised to punt, will return with the Bears on top 9-0. Well, you're looking at Jim McMahon on the Bears sideline. The injury report on McMahon following the slam tackle made on him by Charles Martin was that he simply had his temper bruised. Apparently, he was stunned, but mainly mad.
Well, he just said that Charles Martin is going to be the star of his second book, too.
I would think. Bracken punting for the Packers from the end zone. Meanwhile, Wilbur Marshall's ankle is injury reported as an ankle strain. Don't know whether he'll return in the second half. Lou Barnes will be the deep man for the Bears. A near block. Barnes fumbles the ball, and the Packers appear to have it. A scramble. No, a Bear comes up with it. Mike Richardson on the lateral, and pulled down with a good tackle by Albert Watt. Bestie Jackson recovered the loose ball, and then it was Richardson who winds up being tackled by Watts. A little unintended razzle-dazzle on the punt return.
The Packers had a big chance for a critical turnover as Barnes, it's kind of a knuckleball there, and Barnes couldn't control it. And there were 4 Packers there, but nobody could get the ball. Finally, Bestie Jackson with the lateral to Michael Richardson, and it's almost like rugby.
So the Bears have first down at their own 46-yard line. 1:44 to play first half. McMahon just got the ball off as he had Carricker with the charge on him and a near in the grass situation, but he unloaded the ball and saved the loss. 2nd and 10.
That's what McMahon does. He frustrates defensive linemen because he has very quick speed for the first 3 or 4 steps, and that time it looked like Carricker was going to get a hand and slam him down. He just a quick move, a shuffle in the pocket, and he was able to dump the ball off. It's hard to get. The only way you get him is the way Martin got him.
2nd and 10.
Hey, 29, get on the field.
Suey about 4. Tiger Green on the stop. Another timeout call with 1:25 remaining, and the second charged against the Bears with a 9-0 lead here, and a rather strange first half, to say the least.
Togetherness. Well put.
Do they call them the Junkyard Dogs? Is that the defensive team?
I don't know which one's defense, but they're together.
Well, the fans here have enjoyed their Super Bowl champions, but they've seen them struggle offensively. They get McMahon back, and so far in this game, not terribly impressive on offense, but their defense has them up 9-0.
Ezra Johnson is in there on the third down passing situation, number 90 for Green Bay.
1:25 to play, first half. Third down and about 6. And going for Ertigo, and the ball short. Good coverage downfield by Mark Lee, who had a near shot at an intercept. And again, a little extra down there with the defensive backs and the wide receivers. So it's 4th down, and the Bears will punt. Not a good pass from McMahon, who is certainly showing the effects of a layoff, and perhaps still the fact that, as he said to us at practice on Friday, he's only about 75% by his own assessment. I asked for on a percentage basis. Can't get the ball over the arm over the top like he would like to. history of Cub history. Buford's punt. Taken at the 9-yard line by Walter Stanley. And 1:13 on the clock with a flag down on the punt play. And apparently against Green Bay. But let's wait and see what Jerry Markbright rules.
What he's going to rule is bad field position for Green Bay.
Again.
And I think we're going to see an interesting situation here. There's 1:13 left in the half.
We have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness foul on number 56. Green Bay, a blow to the head while the kick was in the air. First down.
Burnell Dent, reserve linebacker.
Will the Packers choose to run out the clock? Or they say if you've got the ball, you go for it. When you're 2-9, you try and go down the field and score. 1:13 with a few timeouts. They're in pretty good shape. But we have to see what the psychology is. Does Forrest Gregg want to put Randy Wright into that kind of a situation? Wright has not done all that well, and the Bears have been awesome on defense. So we'll see how they play it.
Lofton and Stanley out to the left side. Ivory out to the right. Epps has not returned from his injury. They bury Ken Davis for a loss. Hampton, what a day he's having.
What a shot he gave Ken Davis. Just boomed him back.
Third and last charge timeout. Bears.
I mean, he's enjoying it, isn't he?
He was surprised that Ken Davis was right in his face there. He is something else today, Dan Hampton.
Well, we've got more activity ahead here on CBS coverage of the NFL today. A very important matchup in the NFC East. You will see the Cowboys and the Redskins later today at the inclusion of our telecast. And as usual, the rivalry intense. What a pair they've got in Herschel Walker and Tony Dorsett. Friends now that they've gotten to know and appreciate each other. Jay Schrader, the exciting strong-arm quarterback of the Redskins, has really been hooking up with Gary Clark and Art Monk and company. And George Rogers has found a home in Washington. That battle ahead here on CBS Sports.
You know, Dan Hampton really did give us a good dissertation on how the Bear defense has evolved this year with Vince Tobin, didn't he?
It was very interesting because I think he senses that Tobin, as I remarked earlier in reference to Wilbur Marshall, is now recognizing the actual personal skills of each of the players on his defensive squad since taking over from Buddy Ryan. And Hampton described it well. He said, I think we've now learned his defense. We understand what he's doing. He understands our particular skills, and it's a great blend. Second and 11. Packers. Randy Wright. What a tough spot he's been in this entire first half. Ken Davis picks his way. A nice piece of running by Ken Davis. Close to the 10-yard line. Patiently picking his way through traffic for a gain of about 6.
Did you see Gary Fensick blitz that time? He came right up in the middle of the line and all of a sudden disappeared. He got lost under the shuffle. But Gary Fensick is... He sometimes comes up from that safety spot and blitzes right up the middle, even in situations like this. That one wasn't too much fun for him.
Well, the Packers with just 22 yards of offense in the first half. Bears with 133.
Okay, Fensick is up there right over the center again. 45.
Davis again. That'll bring a fourth down with time ticking down. Fensick made the tackle on the play. And they'll just let this one run out and conclude this rather strange first half of football at Soldier Field. A close game that the Packers are still very much in. 9 points and a full half to play. Don't go away from this one. We'll be back with the score at the end of the first half. Chicago 9, Green Bay nothing.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Citizen. No other watch expresses time more beautifully. Team Xerox, people and products that help bring out the genius in you. And by Sears, Celebrate Sears' new century and enjoy all the ways we've changed and all the ways we haven't.
Welcome back to our studios. For Will McDonough and me, a pleasure to have Mark Mosley join us
Thank you,
this
Brent.
afternoon.
We're having a great time here.
Mark, what did you think about the late hit on Bear quarterback Jim McMahon?
I think it was an atrocity. I've been around a long time, and that's the first time I've seen something that was that blatant, and it really is a shame it had to happen.
Well, I'm sure the folks watching the game have seen the video, but in case you joined us late, here it is again. McMahon throwing one of his 2 interceptions in the first half. This is how it unfolded. Charles Martin, after the play, throws him down. If he was going to block and help out with the interception, face him like a man. Fortunately, the McMahon throwing on the sideline after the injury, he returned to action. But notice the towel that Martin is wearing over there on the sideline. His hit list, including McMahon, 2 numbers down after Peyton, number 29, Dennis Gentry. You don't think that Gentry won't enjoy this touchdown after he takes a look at that towel and the videotape replays tonight? Sean Gale with the block, and here comes Gentry, and it's 9-0, even though McMahon is not having an especially good first half. And what can be done now to cut down on violence like this, Mark, in pro football?
Well, I would say probably the only way is to start ejecting these guys, not just for the game, but probably for a couple of games or even for the rest of something like that, which was very blatant. I think might even qualify for the rest of the season.
Well, I know you've talked to a lot of folks about this.
Well, we did the piece earlier in the year about violence, and I remember after it was all over, Al Davis called me up. He said, you should have emphasized more. The difference is this. There have always been hard hitters in the game, but this year, more than ever, more action like that after the whistle.
All right, let's take everybody to the scoreboard now and get you up to date with the rest of the action around the league. Minnesota and Cincinnati, this is a while when the Bengals with a 1-point lead, and let's take a look at the action. Boomer Esiason going to James Brooks in the flat. This was the 8-yard touchdown that put the Bengals ahead by 7 points. Then there was a Minnesota score and a big kickoff return as Stanley Wilson had a couple of touchdowns following that long kickoff return. He busted in, and the Vikes were able to come back on the quarterback sneak, and they have made a game of it, and it is 21-20, the Bengals with the lead at the half. Detroit and Tampa Bay, it is 14-10, but the Bucs have closed in here in the third quarter. Well, what about Steve Young? What's his future with the Buccaneers?
Well, the one thing that Steve Young does well is he usually doesn't put the ball in trouble. I think he's the quarterback in the league with the fewest interceptions, only 3, and he protects the ball pretty well.
He has them back in the game right now against Detroit. Buffalo and New England, and the Patriots lead at 15-3. They are the half of that game. Pittsburgh and Cleveland, the Browns are ahead 21-14. They have gone to the half. Indianapolis and Houston, it is 10-3. The Oilers with the lead there in the third quarter. Denver and the Giants. The Giants went ahead on a George Martin interception, and then he lumbered, he stiff-armed Elway out of the way, went the distance, 78 yards. In his career, he has scored 7 touchdowns, 6 of them defensively, and that is a record. You know, Mark, when I see Elway trying to tackle George Martin, I think about kickers. When someone breaks a long kickoff return and you've kicked it off, what do you try to do to the guy?
Well, your job is to go try to make the tackle, but most of these guys, being the size that they are, which is not very big, usually try to find a hole to fall in. But around the league, most of the guys are pretty tough, and they try to be a that's their one chance to be a real football player if they can make the tackle.
Mark, has anybody called you this afternoon?
We're still waiting. They know where to find me, so I'm here. Telephone number's available.
The NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local station. Coming up later today on CBS, our doubleheader game between Washington and Dallas, and that's a critical one for both those teams, but you know, especially for the Cowboys, because they must win to stay in the race in the NFC East. And they'll have to do it without their veteran quarterback, Danny White, who's out for the season with that fractured wrist. But as Ann Butler now tells us, the Cowboys are confident that White's young replacement is equal to the challenge.
Part of its tradition, comparisons are going to be inevitable. Here, it's not enough to be just a great quarterback. Dallas is waiting for its next football legend.
The greatest Dallas legend was, of course, Roger Staubach, the artful Dodger who led the Cowboys to 4 Super Bowls. Steve Pallure has a long
quarterback? Does he remind you of anybody running?
Roger Staubach, to be very precise. You know, Roger had all those attributes. He's a leader. You know, Steve, one thing you can feel, Steve, he believes he can get it done.
Sometimes when I see him out there scrambling, making those big plays for those first downs, it does bring back some flashbacks of seeing Roger do those type of things to keep the drives going and keep everybody moving.
Yes, I did those things, and I see him in Steve, and from that aspect, the similarities are there. He's a running quarterback with that quiet leadership about him, and that's important for a quarterback to be able to lead your team and assert yourself when you have to.
Well, shoot, I mean, I watched Roger all through growing up, and that's a great compliment, but I think it's probably inevitable just to kind of compare the present quarterback with the legend.
There are similarities off the field as well. Like Staubach, Pelluer is a devout Christian. Once a week, he hosts a Bible study at home after practice with friends and teammates.
I think I've just counted more on my Christian faith more than anything else, just to try and keep everything in perspective. And because I know the toughest thing for me is when everybody starts telling you you're good and you're doing a great job, that's when you get to be humbled the quickest.
Pelluer's self-effacing manner impresses his boss, who looks for that certain cowboy image.
I like to see people with character, because they're the only ones that are going to pull you out of the valleys you get into, the people with character. And so we build on that quite heavily, and that's probably the reason I drafted him.
So the Cowboys have another quiet leader. But in his moments alone, Steve reflects on the pressure that comes with that challenge.
Well, Irv Cross is standing by in RFK. Irv, how are they going to protect Pelluer today?
Well, a great deal of difficulty, Brent. They gave up 11 sacks last week, but really, they might bring in an extra tight end or keep an extra back in the backfield to protect him. They normally have 5 receivers out. They may only have 3 or 4 against the Washington Redskins. Last week, when Pelluer was slacked 11 times, he told me that he had some problems picking up the blitz. Here you'll see one blitz. The San Diego Chargers coming from the outside here, and a defensive tackle coming right up the middle, breaking down his lineman and getting to Pelluer. And he makes a couple of mistakes here, Brent. One, he should have called an audible when he saw the blitz, and he didn't do it. And secondly, when the play is run, it's a play-action pass. Look at this. He turns his back to the defense and therefore cannot see the on-rushing lineman. And when he does clear and he stands up, what's he going to see? Number 99 right in his face. He goes down for another sack. When I asked him why so many sacks occurred last week, he said there were 3 reasons. 1, occasional breakdowns at the offensive line. 2, poor play selection. And 3, I should have called audibles against the blitz. I learned my lesson, Irv, and it won't happen today.
Irv, I've got a good friend of yours right here, Mark Mosley. You never told me that you were his first coach in the NFL at Philadelphia.
Yeah, but I'm embarrassed to say that we brought in a fellow named Happy Feller, and Mark was cut from the club. He had Happy Feller on it. I don't know where Happy Feller is, but I know Mark Mosley's going to the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Irv.
He
Remember
started
that.
off.
That's right. We started back in 1970 together. Irv was a player coach at that time.
All right.
Doing a good job.
Let's go back to the game you're enjoying now on CBS.
At halftime in Chicago, Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris with the Bears on top of the Packers, 9-0. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football continues after this message and a word from your local station.
Do you have any?
Coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. Miller High Life. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Never matters how far you go, Goodyear takes you home.
It has not been a pretty sight at Soldier Field in Chicago, but nobody expects things to be too pretty when the Bears and the Packers get together. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris awaiting the start of the second half of a 9-0 football game. The only points have been scored, Johnny, on 2 defensive plays, a safety by Dan Hampton and the block punt touchdown by Dennis Gentry. So it's been a strange kind of a game and a tough one.
It's been strictly a defensive battle. The Packers gained only 29 yards total for the entire first half. Now, the Bears weren't all that great either, 144 yards in total offense. So the Bears have committed 4 fumbles, which has kind of kept this game a little bit close.
Well, the Packers obviously in a 9-0 game, very much in it with 30 minutes to play. And the opening kickoff returned well up the sideline by Albert Watts to the 42-yard line of the Packers. Finally, they get some good field position. Calvin Thomas made the tackle. A 40-yard kickoff return. And Randy Wright finally gets to look into the other end of the field for a change. The most talked about incident in the press box area of the first half, this one where Jim McMahon, after releasing the ball, which turned into an interception by Green Bay, is hit by number 94 with the play well over and bulldog down onto his bad shoulder. Charles Martin ejected from the game. First down here in the second half produces a completion to James Lofton of the Packers. First down in Bears territory now at the 41. We alluded to some of the stats of an undistinguished first half offensively. There they are. And you can, in addition to turnovers, in fight started the Pack leading 2-1. Hopefully we won't have to document that for you in the second half. That's Gary Ellis running hard and has another Packer first down. Best run of the game by Green Bay. Gary Ellis, the veteran from Missouri. Gary Fensick made the stop.
Boy, did they get downfield in a hurry. They're already deep into Chicago Bear territory as Ellis has come on and kept his eyes open here as he got to the outside and then got the kick out block there by Ed West and goes up the field. They're down to the Bears' 30-yard line.
Randy Wright finally looking at some Chicago real estate. With Ellerson running hard and breaking tackles for a gain of about 8. Bestie Jackson finally pulled him down, so Forrest Gregg has come out with 2 new running backs to start this second half, Gary Ellis and Gary Ellerson. Davis and Caruth had played all of the first half.
And I wonder what he said in at the halftime locker room meeting. He tried to get his troops back together after the Charles Martin incident, and they are moving with abandon right now.
2nd and 2. Ellis hit by Richard Dent. Got maybe a yard on a second effort, spinning off Dent, and then running into traffic at the line of scrimmage. Steve McMichael making the stop. And there'll be about a half-yard gain on it. It'll leave 3rd and a long yard for the Packers, who bring in a couple of new troops here. Caruth comes in.
Mark Lewis has come on.
And Greg Fiesel, number 77, has come in the short yardage situation in the offensive line. They had one too many guys, and Ellis leaves the field. Fiesel lines up as a tight end on the left side, and they messed it up. Randy Wright has to call timeout.
First charge timeout.
Bear in mind,
Green
Packer
Bay.
fans, if you're wondering about Dan Ross and you joined us late, that he came up this morning with a stomach ailment at the hotel, was taken to the hospital. We had no report on what they found, but they did not think surgery would be required. But Ross was unable to play today, and Ed West became the starter, so they're without him. And Charles Martin ejected in the first half. Let's take a timeout along with the Packers.
A unique situation here. Forrest Gregg and Mike Tippett, the opposing coaches, the only 2 players to play in a Super Bowl and coach in a Super Bowl. Mike won in his Super Bowl last year, and Forrest was a loser with Cincinnati, but he was in the Super Bowl.
3rd down and a long yard. Gary Ellerson, and it'll be close. It'll be close. He was tripped up behind the line. A diving second effort got him close, and there's another Bear down with an injury.
Otis Wilson, I believe, is down, and it looked like he hurt his knee.
We do note that Wilbur Marshall started this second half defensively. He had been injured, an apparent ankle injury back late in the first half, and now it's Wilson's turn to come up hurt, and also a Packer down. That's Mark Cannon. Cannon, the center, just back from an injury. Into the lineup last week for the first time in some time. A rough, tough game, as everybody expected.
And they both appear to be knee injuries. Otis Wilson and well, Otis is reaching down to his ankle, so maybe it's the ankle. He did have a knee problem earlier in the season. So pro football, a rough game, I'll tell you. I don't think I'd ever go down there again. For more reasons than one.
I've been wondering how you survived all the time you did. Well, Green Bay, we pointed out, has had such horrible field position in the first half. You can see that Randy Wright has had not much to look at except that one opportunity down at the 18-yard line of the Bears. But other than that, he has yet to start over his own 40-yard line until the second half. And bad things have happened, as you can see.
Wilson has come out of the game, so that means that Al Harris will come on for the Chicago Bears at one of the linebacker spots. Let's see if Swampy would be at center for Green Bay. Yes, Carl Swampy is now playing center for the Packers, and we have a 4th down and about a half a yard.
Caruth is the lead back. Ellerson has the ball. Diving and would appear to have it. Yes, he does. Fine job by Gary Ellerson, the second-year man from Wisconsin. Had some starts earlier in the year, but lost the starting job to rookie Ken Davis. Made a big play there. First down, Packers at the Bear 18.
And taking a look at the Bear defensive line, Ken Rutgers puts the block on Dent, and Ellerson comes up and over Dent and then keeps his legs driving and gets the extra yard. Nice running by Ellerson.
And West out of bounds at the 5-yard line. The tight end from Auburn. Amazing what a little field position can do for an offense. Finally, Randy Wright getting a chance to start near midfield. Get something going here. A 13-yard gain. First and goal at the 5-yard line of the Bears.
Well, he had a one-on-one situation with Gary Fensick. Just dipped out to the outside. So the Bears have dominated this football game, but it could be a 2-point game here.
Packers without Philip Epps out with an injury. Charles Martin out with an ejection. A little short-manned at the moment. To the corner for Lofton. Overthrown incomplete. The blitz on Wright, led by Marshall and Dave Dewerson. And they threw that little fade to the corner, and it gave Lofton no opportunity to catch it.
And one of the reasons that it was incomplete was that Marshall got through slick and clean, and he's coming on Wright, and Wright actually did a good job of just getting the ball away and overthrew Lofton in the end zone so that they'll have a few more shots at it.
Wilson has returned to the Bears defense. Harris comes out. Second and goal from the 5. Green Bay trailing 9-0. Early third period. Blitz for Stanley. Out of bounds or what? Down at the 1-yard line. A completed pass inbounds, but not in the end zone.
Did he have control? That's the question. They're ruling he had control.
First down, third down and goal at the 1-yard line.
And the Bears are disputing. They're saying that he did not have control of the ball when he went out.
Well, I'd say they have a fair dispute based on our replay. Did not appear like he did, and I hesitated to see where he was vis-a-vis the end zone and the sideline.
The pass is rolled incomplete. Incomplete.
And it will be an incomplete pass. Stanley actually made a rather good catch just to haul it in at all, but he couldn't quite get full possession and control and stay in bounds. He obviously was also trying to get into the end zone. So the youngster comes up empty. Forrest Gregg, you can see, doesn't agree.
Incomplete.
They haven't moved the football back yet. They still have the ball down at the 1-yard line.
And two of the officials are leaving the field, and
you know what that means.
Yes. Replay time at the replay booth.
There's Joe Gardy up there, the man on the right of your screen with his hand to the microphone. He is the replay official today. Ron Hallstrom offering his opinion.
Well, I happen to be one of those who believes in the instant replay booth. I think that of all the changes they've made, they've been to the plus side. In other words, bad calls that have been made good calls. On the technical aspect of it and the mechanics has not always gone well, but the concept, I think, is a good one. Now, look, watch his last leg now. He's now getting control, and I don't think he got both feet in with control.
No, I don't think so either, John. We've now given them another look up there, and we have the usual delay on the field. See sort this out. Randy Wright trying to make some useful time as he talks to Forrest Gregg about what to
After
call next.
further review, the play stands incomplete.
Well, here's how things stand, and what you happen to like, Johnny, the replay. 155 games, they've looked at 253 and turned 30 of them over.
So that means 30 plays that have been correctly changed, and that, to me, that's a plus for the NFL.
3rd and goal from the 5. Again, the fade and incomplete. Intended for Lofton. Bestie Jackson had the ball just hit him. Dave Dewerson had the rush on Wright again. And he didn't get much loft on that one. He didn't loft it to Lofton.
Well, he just had no time. It's just very difficult to throw when you're almost on your back, and the Bears just got right through up the middle and disrupted the entire play.
Del Greco will attempt the field goal for the first Green Bay points. He missed one earlier from 33 yards. This one will be spotted at the 13. It'll be a 23-yard attempt.
And if he misses this one, he'll probably head right out the tunnel and back to Green Bay.
He's right on the hash there, almost dead ahead. And he got it. So the Packers on the board with 10:47 remaining. In the 3rd period, they have cut the margin to just 6. The Bears 9, the Packers 3.
Share your Thanksgiving with John Madden and Pat Summerall as the Green Bay Packers take on the Detroit Lions. It all starts with the NFL Today Thanksgiving on CBS Sports.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Packers have gotten on the board with a 22-yard field goal by Al Del Greco to make it 9-3. The Bears on top. Del Greco will kick it off. The Packers to our left in white. Running down at the 7-yard line, it's Dennis Gentry. Open field tackle and a dandy. That was Ken Davis, number 36. Well, a quick look graphically at what's happened so far today at a big incident in the first half labeled McMahon abuse, and it cost the Packers an ejection of nose tackle Charles Martin. A safety by Dan Hampton, a blocked punt by Sean Gale, the recovery in the end zone by Dennis Gentry, and then the field goal by Del Greco making it 9-3.
And I don't think Martin has heard the last of it. He'll probably get fined. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets suspended for a couple of games.
Oh, all right. 23-yard line, first down Bears. They come out on the I formation. Or to go in motion. Walter Payton. 6 or 7 for the veteran. Donnie Humphrey made the tackle. 30 yards on the day for... Oh, check it.
There is Donnie Humphrey right over the center, Jay Hilgenberg, and there's the collision, and Humphrey will play off that block and float down the line. The boy grabs that mask and gets in on the tackle of Walter Payton. Donnie Humphrey called on for extra duty today because of the Charles Martin incident.
33 yards of rushing for Payton on 8 carries so far. Payton for the first down, and he's got it to the 35-yard line.
Well, it appears the Bears are going to try and grind it out now and take it right down the field. Obviously, McMahon is not, you can tell that he's not 100% with his shoulder. He's not throwing, he's not throwing badly, but he's not throwing well, doesn't quite have the zip on it. And, but they win, usually, when he plays 22 in a row that he started. The Chicago Bears have won.
Kurt Becker continues at left guard for Mark Borch, who did not return with a re-aggravation of an ankle injury he suffered last week. A flag down as Payton gets about 3 and then runs into David Greenwood, number 49. And a flag down that appeared to be early movement on the Bears' offensive right side. That is the preliminary signal from Mark Wright, and I would pick Keith Van Horn as the culprit. Randy Scott talks it over with Mark Wright. since they had held Peyton to about a 3-yard
Illegal
gain.
motion, number 87, offense, first down.
Well, it's Moorhead, not his tackle, Van Horn, who gets the call. Moorhead, the look on his face indicates that, who, me?
Have you ever seen somebody, even Charles Martin said, who, me?
Oh. Well, the Pack last week were playing the Buccaneers. That accounts for that number differential. First and 15 from the 30-yard line. Man for Gentry, incomplete. Mark Lee on the coverage. Gentry looking inside, the pass outside. And I think just more of your observations that McMahon just not sharp, and also, no doubt, still feeling the effects of that rotator cuff injury. As I said, he himself says he's only about 75% of his real throwing ability.
But he wanted to get back into action. The Bears are now trying to get in the groove for the playoffs, and McMahon obviously couldn't stay out for a couple, 3 months and then be anywhere near being sharp for the playoffs. So they've got to go with it as best they can and wait for the operation in next year.
Man on 2nd and 15. Gets lots of time, has a man complete, and then it's dropped by Willie Gall. Well, he's had 2 or 3 drops. There is a flag down. So when he's delivered the ball to an open receiver, he's had some drops. Ortego dropped one earlier in a similar play. It's going
to go against the Chicago Bears, and the area of the flag, it might have been against a receiver.
Again, Mark Bright will talk it over with Scott. Mike Ditka working that gum about the normal rate for him in a 9-3 ball game.
Well, you can tell when he's mad when that chewing speeds up on the gum.
Pass interference, number 29, offense, penalty declined, third down.
So Gentry called for offensive pass interference. The pass went to Galt, who dropped it, but it would have gone for naught anyway.
Well, the Packers opted to put the Bears at 3rd and 15 rather than 2nd and 25. They didn't want to give them the extra down.
Now the Packers have Harris lined up in a down position and left defensive end. Expect the rush here. Inside to Peyton. Peyton's got some room on the corner. Cuts it upfield. Good reaction by Donnie Humphrey. And Greenwood slicing in there to get the low move on Peyton, and Humphrey burying him from the top. Good defensive work by the Packers.
You're right, because it looked like that play was set up for big yardage around the end. The Bears had crossed him up with a couple of individual efforts, and Donnie Humphrey doing okay in his surprise action.
Humphrey up to 300 pounds these days and showing it. Showed some remarkable speed. Buford's low punt takes a bare bounce, and Stanley is upset on a diving tackle. Neil Anderson, the rookie, with a great open field tackle. And again, some more altercation activity back upfield. We have 7:47 to play in the 3rd period. The Bears on top 9-3. Doubleheader action today on CBS Sports NFL coverage. Most of you will see Dallas and Washington, big game in the NFC East. Atlanta, San Francisco, New Orleans at the Rams. Some of you will see those games, and that is all key action in the West. Philadelphia at Seattle. So still plenty of NFL excitement ahead this afternoon.
But the Chicago audience will not get that, because this game there was no blackout.
First down, Packers from their own 25-yard line. Play action on first down. Randy Wright is sacked. Steve McMichael. The charge led by Hampton. And McMichael gets the sack. And Wright gets up limping.
Okay, look for 76 and 99. McMichael is double teamed to the left of your screen. Hampton comes inside and flushes right out, right into the hands of number 76, Steve McMichael. So chalk up another sack. And it was really Hampton who started the situation. As you can see, he goes inside as they double team McMichael outside, and he is the one responsible for. He ought to get a third of that sack. They ought to share that. 2/3 for McMichael and maybe a third for Hampton, huh? How about that?
Well, Wright, meanwhile, looks like he may have twisted his ankle on the play. He has been bothered with an ankle this season. He's had a number of injuries. None of them have been real serious, and then he took that shot from Charles Mann of the Redskins that fell into the unforgivable category, and had a concussion. Came back gamely to play last week against Tampa Bay and had a fine afternoon, but it looks like he may have re-injured his ankle. Chuck Bucina warming up, number 4 on the sidelines, who had to come into that Washington game 2 weeks ago. It's going to be 2nd and 18 now for the Green Bay Packers from their own 16-yard line, and we'll have a new quarterback.
Excuse me, Bucina hasn't seen all that much action, and most of the passes he's thrown this year, they're in the short variety, completed 19 for 178 yards, so that's not many yards per catch. So he's on the spot. Bucina got to come in against a defense like the Chicago Bears.
Here comes Chuck Bucina to give you some scores from around the league. Bucina 19 of 29. Signed out of the USFL. 4 years of NFL experience from Penn State. Ellerson, nice piece of running for a first down out to the 28. No, pardon me, back to the 28-yard line. They were 2nd and 18, so they still have 9 to go. But a fine run by Gary Ellerson. Dewerson and Pensick making the tackle. Ellerson running with some motivation, getting a chance here in the second half.
Well, he had a couple of bad games earlier in the season where he fumbled a lot, but he's come on the last couple of weeks, played a little bit better, and he's there really power back. He's got a little speed to go with the size that he has.
3rd down, a long 6. But some breathing room for the new quarterback, Bucina. Tackled from behind by Richard Dent. He of the remarkable speed for a 255, 260-pound defensive end.
Actually, it appeared that the Packers got a break because the blitz came from the right side and they flushed Bucina out. He had time to run here, and his receivers didn't really come back to help him out. And Dent just turned on the speed, and for a big man, he can run, and that was a great example of it.
Bracken fields a low snap. Good job, and hit the line drive. Barnes from the 26. To the 43-yard line of the Bears. John Simmons made the tackle there. 5:53 remaining 3rd quarter. A 48-yard punt. The Bears on top 9-3. Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris. 3rd quarter action at Soldier Field. A tough defensive struggle, 9-3. All of the Bears' points coming on defensive plays. Field goal by Del Greco for Green Bay. Jim McMahon has gone the distance, not too effectively thus far. They have 1st down at their own 44-yard line. Peyton got about 2 before Brian Noble wrapped him up.
Brian Noble is so much more effective inside. When they moved him from outside to inside, he has really come on, making majority of the tackles for Green Bay up the middle there. Big, tall linebacker who's more suited for inside. He's played a pretty good game today.
Yes, he looks like he's going to be one of those long-time, good, solid class linebackers. Brian Noble. second down. Long 8. 4 to go in motion. Inside for Payton, and it's Noble again. Randy Scott tripped him up, and Noble on his tail buried him after a gain of 3 more. It'll be 3rd down and 5 at the 49 of Chicago. Barnes and Gentry come in, and the word on Randy Wright is a sprained ankle, and probably the same one that has bothered him in the past. They say he might get back into this game. I'm sure he wants to. He's a tough young competitor. Randy Wright trying to prove that he can be the #1 quarterback in perpetuity. 5 defensive backs in. McMahon, interception. Ball was tipped and picked off. Mark Lee. Donnie Humphrey, the man to get a hand on it, and Mark Lee comes up with his 2nd interception of the day.
And the key there was that Tiger Green had covered Lou Barnes, who came back in motion. You'll see Tiger Green 23 covering on 81. McMahon is trying to hit Barnes there, and he's jammed up over the middle, so then he adjusts his pass, and it wasn't a very good pass. It had no zip on it. In fact, it was a wobbly duck, and Mark Lee comes up with his 6th pass interception of the season, and the Packers create another turnover. The Bears have been really hurt by turnovers today.
On 1st down, Randy Wright just off the fingertips of James Lofton. Well, as we expected, a game Randy Wright got himself right back in there and nearly connected with Lofton for a long one.
Well, the Packers did what you're supposed to do. You create a big turnover like that, you try and strike quickly, and Lofton had a couple of steps, but the pass was a little bit overthrown, but right back in the lineup.
Sideline again to Lofton, and he can't hold on. Bessie Jackson again on the coverage. Fensick came over to help. The ball looked like it popped in and out of Lofton's hands.
Fensick comes in there with a late hit, but he can legally claim he wasn't sure if he had caught the ball or not. You'll see 45, but Bessie Jackson with the push-off. The timing was really off on the pass. He didn't look back for that ball, but here comes Fensick, 45. Boom.
Now on the 3rd down situation, what they've started this week, Fensick comes out, Gale and Todd Bell come in. Otis Wilson goes out along with Fensick, and Fensick saying, well, if they're talking about speed, I can't argue with him. I think I can play every down, but Vince Coburn wants to have the faster players on the passing down. Randy Wright tried a little basketball push pass out to Ellerson, with McMichael already having a pretty good grip on him. Great effort by Wright.
McMichael was calling for the sack there. He's number 76 as the Bears put the blitz on here. He comes on the twist, and you can see Wright goes out, and McMichael says, I had him. Give me another sack. He tried the old basketball pass there and couldn't get enough zip on it. The Bears hold. Green Bay punts.
Bracken at his own 30-yard line. Lou Barnes waiting for it at the Bears 15. Big punt by Bracken. Wind aided. Goes through the end zone and will be a touchback. 55-yarder for Bracken. And we have 3:59 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Still a 9-3 football game. Jim McMahon will try to spark something here. Offense has not been in the forefront.
I have an idea they're going to try and grind it out now, Tim. I think obviously it's cold. McMahon's arm is not 100%. They'll throw if they have to. I just don't think they're going to come out throwing. I think they're going to try and grind it out. And here they go. They'll start throwing the ball. Short, though.
Little screen for Payton. Well broken down, the blocking. Number 93, Robert Brown, got over there before the blockers could even set up. Gave Payton nowhere to go. There'll be a loss of a yard. Robert Brown, number 93, excellent play.
We talk about the Bear defense. The Packer defense, you know, has played a darn good football game. I mean, they're down, they're trailing, but if you stop to think of the points, how they were scored, Packers have given up a few more yards, but they have overall played very well.
Absolutely stuffed the Bears offense. Chicago offensively has done nothing. And 7 of 23. Calvin Thomas, he's hit immediately. Brian Noble with an ankle tackle. The Packers are just smelling these screens, and they're getting there before the play gets developed at all.
Well, obviously the Packers have keyed on the fact that they don't think McMahon can throw down the field. So they're expecting the short passes, the screen passes, the stuff over the middle, and they're playing that. And unless if they don't think that Willie Galsey runs 45, 50 yards and McMahon can't get it to him, they're not going to worry about it that much. So you have more people covering short and one-on-one coverage for the wideouts downfield.
Greenwood and Albert Watts in defensively for the Packers on the 3rd and 14. And going deep, he's got Gentry.
They didn't think McMahon could throw down the field. He threw that one right on target, and it went about 45 yards in the air.
Let's see it again, all the way down to the 41-yard line of the Pack.
Nice protection for McMahon, and he just put it up and over, because he was fairly well covered by Watts, but the ball came up over the top, and Gentry made the grab. Big play for Chicago. And that's something that can loosen up the Packers, so the short stuff may work a little bit better now, because McMahon can throw if you give him the time. You know, it didn't have a big zing on the ball, but it got there.
First down in Packer territory. Well, I tell you, courage he does not lack. Carricker and Harris made the tackle on him. Rolled out, trying to find somebody downfield, saw the run opportunity and went for it. You know, he does the things that you least expect. There he makes that big, long pass just when we're speculating that maybe he can't get it downfield. You can't count him out of anything.
No, and
60 yards make him the leading rusher in this football game.
That figures out the 12 yards per carry. That's not too shabby.
He's irrepressible. And whatever difficulties that he presents, to my recollection, has never done anything with any real venom or malice. He's a fun guy. He likes to have fun. He wants to be himself. He doesn't want to be afraid to express himself. And when he plays, they win.
Well, the team likes it better when he expresses himself on the field. And that's what he's doing right now, mostly with his running ability. As you look at some of the scores, New England is leading. Look at Pittsburgh, Cleveland, 28-28. Houston, big lead over Indianapolis. And the Giants on top of Denver, third quarter.
Well, that makes that upcoming game here on CBS all the more interesting. Dallas and Washington next. Most of you will see Thomas trying for the first down, and it'll be close. Calvin Thomas running into a human wall, and some little extra going on again.
Brian Noble, I think, is upset at Calvin Thomas.
I think Thomas threw the ball at him, and apparently Thomas trying to get up, somebody holding him down. They're all just letting their emotions run a little wild here in this game. Let's see where they mark the ball. It's right on the 33-yard line, and that will be a first down, Chicago. 1 minute remaining, third period. Bears on the march, finally, at the 33-yard line. Packers have been able to stop them completely throughout this game. For Galt, and it is intercepted but out of bounds. Mark Lee was over the end line. McMahon just chucked that as far as he could, trying to let Galt run under it.
And there were a whole bunch of Packers down there, and you're right. McMahon just aired it out. He had time and decided, hey, I'm going to go for it, and he threw it as far as he could. There was absolutely no pressure on him, so he just heaved it down there, a little off balance, and you can see the Packers were waiting for Galt. 3 of them, in fact. 1 foot, looked like both feet. It's a good call.
Mark Lee.
He says no good.
Out of
No,
bounds.
it's out of bounds. He's animated, isn't he?
Involved. 2nd and 10. Inside the 30-yard line. Picks up 5. Scott and Tim Harris on the tackle. Time winding down here in the 3rd quarter. And they'll let it run out. So at the end of the 3rd quarter, the score, the Chicago Bears 9, Green Bay 3. We now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft smoothness. It's beer at its best. Toyota, builder of tough, powerful, reliable trucks, Toyota. And by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, and we're at Soldier Field where the sellout crowd enjoying the tough battle, the expected one. Remember, it was 12-10 into the 4th quarter, the first time these 2 teams met this season, and then the Bears went on to open it up and win it 25-12. McMahon on 3rd down, incomplete. Intended for Ortego, and McMahon, another shot just as the ball was released. A flag down on the play, back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, he had Bobby Leopold bearing down on him, and McMahon kind of flicked it.
We have 2 fouls on the play. We have illegal hands to the face, number 79 offense. We have illegal hands, number 22 defense. Penalties offset. 3rd down again.
Kurt Becker at the line of scrimmage. Mark Lee downfield, both with handy no-nos.
It's a break for the Bears, actually, because of the incompleted pass. But here's McMahon, and you can see Leopold is bearing down on him, and boom, puts the hit on him. So he kind of flicked it side arm and came down on the shoulder. This gives you right into your front room the perspective of Leopold. Boom, right there.
Interesting talking to Leopold yesterday about facing Walter Payton. I said, what do you fear most? He said, that straight arm. I don't want to have him in the open field embarrassing me with a straight arm. 3rd down. Man trying to find a man open. Lofts it to Payton, and is he inbounds?
No.
No. Out of bounds. Brings up 4th down right along the sidelines, but no question he was out when he came down with the ball.
So now the decision is to the field goal, and Kevin Butler is coming out on the field. He missed his final 3 field goal attempts last week against Atlanta after having made 18 in a row.
So he's 21 of 30 on the season, still pretty good. Long and 52 to his credit, so that 46 is in his range. The wind is behind him, which can be good and bad from this distance. Fuller to hold, and he hooks it left. So the Bears come up empty with 14:42 remaining in regulation time. The Packers still very much in this football game. 9-3, and Forrest Gregg says, hey, that's just fine. A converted touchdown puts us in the lead here. And Green Bay with a short week. They'll be right back in action on Thursday. One of the reasons Forrest Gregg said he signed another quarterback, Joe Shield, the way things are going for them. They take on the Detroit Lions, the 15th Thanksgiving Day meeting between those old rivals at Detroit's Silverdome. We'll have it for you here on CBS, 12 noon Eastern Time. Ellerson for a couple. Singletary makes the stop. 2nd and 8. Gary Ellerson, number 42.
Nice job by Singletary. He's, of course, the leader of the defense, and he's the only one that had the shot at Ellerson. The rest of the line had created a gap in there, and he shot that gap and met that running back head on. And you know how he does when he meets him head on. He stops him.
2nd and 7. Ivory comes in, and Ellerson goes out. Sideline for Lofton. Again, the pressure on Wright, forcing him to throw the ball early. Singletary leading the charge.
And there shouldn't be pressure on that kind of a pass. That's just a quick drop back pass. Lofton goes down and out very quickly. It's a 3-step pass. They put the blitz on, and it still should have been completed. The pressure wasn't all that great there. He just misfired the pass.
Protection looked to be pretty good, but
yes,
they're coming at him, and I think, you know, he's just seems like he's a little eager to unload that ball, which is understandable.
Well, he knows they're all around, but you've got to know how close they are. That time there was no excuse. But he's down there. We're up here, huh?
6 and 23, Randy Wright's been a nightmare out there for him today.
Blitz.
Nice move by Wright, complete to the tight end West. And he has first down yardage. Wright showing fine composure on that play. Right now, let's take you to New York and Brent Musburger for an NFL update.
Well, Tim, we've had another successful debut by a quarterback. Chuck Long, the former Iowa star, a touchdown pass. That's his first passing attempt. Leonard Thompson's second score of the day, 38-17. Tim, Chuck Long probably thinks this is an easy game. Let's go back to Chicago.
Yeah, that's a nice way to start, kind of like Everett did last week for the Rams. So you'll see Chuck Long Thursday. The Lions and the Packers here on CBS. First down, Green Bay. Ken Davis gets about 2. Flag down on the play. Dan Hampton made the stop. And a holding call against the Packers. That Detroit-Tampa Bay game, a
number
final.
67, offense, first down.
Lions 38-17, and that improves their record to 5-7.
They called that penalty on Swanky. He's playing at the center spot. He's played about every offensive line position the Packers have.
Tremendously valuable man. Cannon been out with injuries. He's been playing center, and Cannon left the game hurt.
No blitz.
Wright's got a man, West. Great diving catch by Ed West with 3 Bears on him. He knew he was going to have to take the fall, but he came down with the ball.
Nice touch by Randy Wright, because there were 3 Bears and he had to get the ball up and over. No blitz, so we had a little bit more time. You see Singletary chasing. Pensick comes into the picture, and Dave Duerson, and Ed West did the job that he's got to do, and that's to concentrate on that ball.
Ed West getting the start for the ill Dan Ross. Missing the game with a stomach ailment. First down, Green Bay at the 42 of Chicago. A 6-point game. Lots of time remaining. Ellerson. Nowhere to go, and Dave Duerson drops him for a 2-yard loss. What a year that guy's having.
Oh, he made the Pro Bowl last year. He's got all kinds of interceptions this year. And it's ironic because Ellis got his block on that play. It should have been a successful play, but it shows a pursuit by the Chicago Bears, because Ellis blocked Otis Wilson and had him down, yet there was no place to run.
Duerson's numbers into the game: 72 tackles, 5 sacks, 6 interceptions. Pro Bowl material. 2nd and 12, Packers. Draw play. No, good fake. West again. West got about 8, maybe 9 yards. It'll still leave 3rd and about 5. Singletary on the tackle. I like the fake a lot. I thought he had handed it off. 3rd down and 5. That's been quite a struggle. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Houston beating up on Indianapolis. The Giants in Denver. Giants up 16-9 on Denver, leading the West at 9-2, and the Giants at 9-2 in the NFC East. Dallas, Washington later here on CBS. Blitz. Sack. 5 sacks today for the Bears. Hampton gets the credit.
He got there first, but there was a whole bunch of other Bears coming. As you can see, the linebackers, you see Wilbur Marshall, they tie up some of these blocks. There just aren't enough men for everybody to pick up. Singletary comes around the other way, and Hampton was really the guy on it. He deserves most of the credit, but the whole defensive line was in there.
So Bracken will punt again, and that's nearly blocked by Sean Gale. A high punt that only goes about 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, maybe 11 or 12. And it'll be excellent field position for the Bears when we return. Tim Ryan, Johnny Morris, Soldier Field, Chicago. Gray, cloudy skies setting the mood for a rough, tough battle, as usual, between the Packers and the Bears. And the game has been highlighted by a lot of rough stuff, the worst of it when McMahon was dropped by Charles Martin unceremoniously, leading to Martin's ejection. A safety, a block punt, leading to the Bears' only points. A field goal for Green Bay. Whistles everywhere as the pass was completed, flags, etc. McMahon 9 of 27 on the day for just 67 yards and has had 3 interceptions.
Ball start, number 74, offense, 1st down.
Jim Covert charged with a false start.
You know, we haven't seen much of Matt Suey this second half. Calvin Thomas has been getting most of the play. I don't know if he got hurt, but he usually shares it pretty much with Calvin Thomas. The Bears now into a passing situation, but I'll bet they don't pass this time. I'm probably wrong.
1st and 15.
Out of the eye? No?
Willie Goff gets about 10 to the 35-yard line. Brian Noble and Mark Lee make the tackle for Green Bay. It'll leave 3rd and a long 4.
Willie Galt, who wears very little equipment. He has no hip pads, doesn't wear any kind of rib pads, and real shoes that weigh about an ounce. He wears the least amount of equipment that anybody on the Bears wears. He's going to go back into track and field. He hasn't even ruled out maybe trying for the Olympics, much to the chagrin of Mike Ditka.
It is 2nd down and 4. Allow me to correct it. Now 2nd and 4. Man sidearms it to Galt. He's got it. Dandy catch by Willie Galt. Mark Lee with the hit as the ball arrived, but Galt held on for a 1st down.
Well, Lee is playing off, and the Bears have decided they're going to take some advantage of it as McMahon eyes him all the way. You know what's coming. And Galt takes it and then takes the hit. Did you notice how open Peyton was in the short zone, too?
I also noticed the passing motion by McMahon that time. It's certainly not his normal employ. 1st and 10. Really slung that one, intended for Calvin Thomas.
That was a sidearm throw. He actually threw that sidearm, and Calvin Thomas was open over the middle for big yardage, but he stopped. He hesitated a second, and McMahon thought he was going to keep going. So there was a little bit of a miscommunication between Calvin Thomas and Jim McMahon.
It'll be 2nd down, Bears, from their own 47. Mike Ditka evidently going the distance with McMahon so long as they're on top of this game. 9-3. 9:53 remaining to play. And 11 of 30. Good catch by Tim Reitman. Gain of 7. Greenwood and Scott on the coverage made the tackle.
Well, Tim Reitman, the former UCLA star, USFL, you notice he's got his gloves on. He's getting used to Chicago, but he says, I want gloves. He said, this is cold weather.
See, most of the receivers, virtually all of them, wearing the gloves now, those kind of tacky scuba type.
But even
gloves.
when it's 40 or 45, you think
well, you're the receiver. What do you think?
Well, I'm surprised that Mike Ditka even lets him wear them.
3rd down and 4. Going deep. Will he go? And who's got it? Nobody. Double coverage on golf by Mossy Cade and Ken Stills. And they broke it up. Pass was right on the money. I mean, McMahon will look horrible on a couple, and then he'll throw one deep right on the money.
Well, the key here was that Stills got over 2 and helped out on the coverage 29 and jolts into everybody. And so you have 4 hands against 2 hands, and most of the time it's not going to be completed. Good coverage by the Packers, despite a good pattern and a good pass.
Maury Buford, the punter, 3 punts today. 44-yard average, has the wind with him. Walter Stanley waiting for it at 10. That one hangs up. Bounces upfield and down by the Bears. So they'll get about a +2 there as they mark it at the 22-yard line. Randy Wright gets his instructions for this series. And again, some conversation, a little extra pushing and shoving, especially the defensive backs of the Packers. 8:47 to go.
The Rams, powered by Eric Dickerson, the NFL's hottest running back, take on the Jets, fueled by Ken O'Brien, the NFL's hottest quarterback. An offensive showdown next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Forrest Gregg and all of the Packers and their fans are fully cognizant of the fact that it's a 6-point game. And while neither team has been able to do anything offensively, with 8:47 to go, his team can still win it. Gary Ellis pounds his way for about 7. So despite the fine defensive work by both teams and a lackluster offensive display, we've got a 6-point game. That means really one big play can turn it around in favor of Green Bay.
And the Packers are moving a little bit better here in this second half. And you know, I don't think it was any secret that Mike Ditka and Forrest Gregg didn't get along all too well before this game. And after the Martin incident, I imagine they're less friendly than they were coming in, if they were friendly at all.
Ditka was out there on the field when that incident occurred. Here's Gary Ellis melting off tacklers. Biggest play of the game offensively by the Packers to the Bear 46-yard line. Gary Ellis.
And you were just talking about it a moment ago, some kind of a big play, and boom, all of a sudden we have a game that could really turn around. It's that close, even though it appears that the Bears have dominated, and Ellis does a good job of bouncing off the tackle and getting knocked out of bounds. They're in Chicago Bear territory.
Well, they've dominated defensively, but they certainly haven't dominated offensively. That's been about a draw. Even though the numbers favor the Bears. First down. Wright steps up. He's got a man open. West. Touchdown. Well, I hate to say I told you so, but that's exactly what could and did happen. Well, West with a big bomb from Wright. Wright injured on the play, took a shot from Perry just after he released the ball, or as he's releasing it. Let's see it.
Well, it was a great play by Wright under pressure. He had the choice. He could have run down the field. Look at the open spaces down there. And then he just tells West to go on, and he threw the ball as far as he could. He was behind Dave Duerson and made sure the catch fell into the end zone. And the Green Bay Packers have taken the lead as they're taking Randy Wright off the field. And here's the hit that Wright took. He could sense the refrigerator coming, and boy, did William Perry lay the wood to Randy Wright. So both quarterbacks have been jolted, but Perry's is a legal hit, and he really did hit him. Give some credit to Randy Wright, though. Standing up under the pressure, and he got hurt once before. Now he's back out of the game, but the Packers have the lead.
It may be that ankle that, as we commented on earlier, he has been bothered with for the past several weeks, and getting assistance from his teammates. But a gutty display by Randy Wright, coming up with the first offensive touchdown of the game.
And, you know, I think this time he's out for good. It looks like it's so tender that I would doubt that he'll be back in the game this time.
7:49 remains. The extra point will put the Packers in front. Al Del Greco, the man responsible for the go-ahead point. Ed West, a 46-yard touchdown.
The play stands. Touchdown.
After final review.
What were they reviewing? Whether he was over the line of scrimmage or something?
Well, evidently that was the question, that whether Randy Wright was over the line.
It looked like he was a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, as far as I could see.
Likewise, it didn't even occur to me because he seemed to be in quite good position. Washington has taken the early lead over Dallas. Many of you will be going there after this game. Del Greco, and he's got it. Green Bay has taken the lead for the first time today with 7:49 to play. Regulation time. Randy Wright to Ed West, and Del Greco's point after.
All right, welcome back to New York. Now, let me update the situation with Dallas and Washington. The Redskins have scored, and it was George Rogers thundering in for the game's first touchdown. This is from 14 yards out, his 15th touchdown of the season, and many of you will be going to join that game just as soon as we finish with the last 7:49. Meanwhile, Thanksgiving Day here on CBS, and it will be these Green Bay Packers. They will be taking on the Detroit Lions. That'll start with the NFL today at noon on Thanksgiving. Let's go back to Soldier Field. Here's Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris. Tim?
All right, Brent. Well, we've seen the Green Bay Packers make the big play. They've taken the lead here. A strange football game. Lots of silly nonsense going on. Some of it expected, the hard hitting of the Packers, Johnny, but you got to credit Randy Wright.
Yes, he stuck in there. And, you know, what really made that play for the Packers was that Randy Wright was flushed out. And that broke the coverage for the Bears, and West was able to keep on going and get behind the coverage, and then Wright made the great play.
Dennis Gentry with Del Greco's kickoff. Hard running over the 35-yard line to the 37 of Chicago. Ed Berry made the stop. Well, you probably saw moments ago the score in the Dallas-Washington game, so it is underway. Most of you will be going to that one. Some of you will see Atlanta at San Francisco, New Orleans at the Rams, and the Eagles at Seattle. Everywhere except in Chicago, there is more NFL action ahead today. Mike Tomczak has come in at quarterback for the Chicago Bears as they are down 10-9. And it may be that Mike Ditka simply decided that McMahon, now that they will need to throw the ball, is not throwing it well enough today. Peyton. To the Packer 47. First down. Ken Stills on the stop.
We have not received any word from the bench as to whether he had any specific injury. I think it's just a case of the shoulder. He just can't throw the way he wants to, and Mike feels that they have a better shot bringing Tomczak in.
Peyton, 65 yards on 13 carries. He'll have himself another 1,000-yard season. Goff did an excellent job of breaking up the intercept.
They were going to go with the short hitch pass, but you'll see Mark Lee comes up tight and ruins the timing, and Tom Beck decided not to throw to him. See how tight he is? So then Galt just turns around and heads up the field, and, just give Mark Lee some great credit there. He came up, jammed up the short pass, and then reacted and almost had himself an interception.
2nd and 10. Mike Tomczak, the second-year man from Ohio State, had to fill in for the injured Jim McMahon. He's passed 3 games, taking the number 2 spot away from Steve Fuller. Gets it off to Suey. Good defensive play by the Packers. First man to hit him, Mark Lee, and then Brian Noble able to get a hold of Suey before he moved upfield. A pickup of maybe 3 yards. 3rd and 7.
Noble's all over the place, isn't he? He is having one heck of a football game. And last year he had a real bad football game against the Bears. He must have missed Walter Payton 8 or 9 times on tackles. But not this year. He is doing a super job. Key play for the Bears right here. 3rd down and about 7.
Albert Watts comes in. Ezra Johnson comes in. Don't forget the Packers without 2 starters. Dan Ross at the tight end, and on the nose, Charles Martin was thrown out after dropping man illegally. Tomczak gets lots of time, and in and out of the hands of Lou Barnes. Barnes had the first down yardage, couldn't hold on to the ball. Tiger Green on the coverage. It'll be 4th down. Well, now, with 6:33 remaining, the Packers will have the ball again. You almost expect that the Bears defense, if this game is to be won by Chicago, will have to do the winning. They've got all the points. Chicago has scored today.
Well, the situation of the game has come down to the fact that now, if the Packers gain control here and don't blow the punt, their destiny is in their own hands. If they can move the ball and control it, they can win this football game.
Will it be Fusina or Wright? We'll find out. Short punt out of bounds. Way upfield. They're going to spot it at about the 27 or 28-yard line. Let's see, the 30. So good field position for Green Bay, something they have not had much of. A 14-yard punt by Buford. Well, these Green Bay Packers will have to get it all together for Thanksgiving Day, the traditional game. Thursday here on CBS at Detroit, the 15th meeting on Thanksgiving Day, a holiday tradition. Randy Wright will be back in at quarterback, we hope, and it could be James Jones getting it from Chuck Long of the Lions. There's Randy Wright to Lofton, their combination, and it's Randy Wright out here now, but he will be in action Thursday afternoon against the Detroit Lions here on CBS. Ellerson, loose ball. Bears have it. Dave Dewerson with the fumble recovery.
Gary Ellerson hit by the fumble bugaboo again. He comes into the line. It's jammed, but can't tell who jammed it loose. It looked like Singletary got the hit on it, and the ball was bobbling around, and it was number 22, Dave Dewerson, who fell on it. And the Bears have the ball in Green Bay territory, and a Packer is down on the field. Dave Dewerson.
Well, Randy Wright answered the bell. That it's Ellerson, the injured player. He took that shot from Singletary that pried the ball loose. What a gritty display by Randy Wright, as he has twice had an ankle injury today and come back each time, but unfortunately for him and the Packers, Ellerson unable to hold on. Now let's take this opportunity to remind you about our college football activity. As we mentioned, our Thanksgiving Day game in the NFL, college football Friday features an ACC matchup. Maryland, the Terrapins against the Cavaliers of Virginia. Young Danny Henning, the quarterback for Maryland. And on Saturday, the traditional college rivalry, Notre Dame and USC, live at 3:30 Eastern Time. The bowl-bound Trojans. And then Sunday afternoon, we're back to the NFL action, doubleheader action again, and what a dandy to open the day. The Rams at the Jets, and some of you will see the Redskins at St. Louis. Big game for the Rams and Washington, that both of those games that afternoon. And doubleheader games, Philadelphia at the Raiders or Atlanta at Miami. Atlanta still in the playoff picture in the NFC West.
I'd say there's a lot of football coming up on CBS,
You're
wouldn't you?
not kidding. You're going to have your fistful. Now, the Redskins are underway against Dallas. We'll be going to that game for most of you. The Giants, 9-2, were leading Denver, the last report we had. Dallas at 7-4, so quite a scramble there. And in the NFC West, the best battle for playoff spots, the Rams, the 49ers right behind them, surprising New Orleans, and Atlanta still in it. So those games this coming weekend, and indeed later today, can very much affect the playoff picture. And look at this, the Broncos have come back against the Giants. The Giants and Denver and Chicago and Washington all at 9-2. The Jets at 10-1 with the best record. Redskins leading Dallas, will be going there. All right, Ellerson has been attended to. The Bears have the football. Payton gets about 3 to the 31-yard line. 6-11 and counting. Noble made the tackle.
Walter Payton, an interesting guy, never takes, he's had these injuries, he had the dislocated toe. Most players wouldn't have played the next week. He took no medication, no Novocaine, no cortisone. He says that he mentally blocks out those injuries, and he says, I'm like back in the old days when the Indians had to walk on red coals, hot coals. He does that. He doesn't let an injury affect him at all.
2nd and 8. Reitman for 5. Open field tackle by Randy Scott. And Reitman unhappy that he didn't get to the marker. But it was a good defensive reaction by Randy Scott.
Well, Reitman bobbled a little bit, so he wasn't able to get himself in stride. And what we're boiling down to is that if the Bears don't make the first down here, it'll be Kevin Butler coming out, and he's on a streak of missing 4 in a row. So you talk about a young man who might be under some severe pressure here in a moment.
And he missed in this direction. The swirling wind at Soldier Field appears to be blowing into the face of the passers and kickers of the Chicago Bears. Payton, first down.
Walter Payton gradually inching towards that 100-yard marker as you see a final score here. Cincinnati 24, the Minnesota Vikings 20. So that pretty much, if the Bears win this, they'll pretty much eliminate the Vikings as far as the division title is concerned.
Vikings fall to 6-6. Tom's action fake to Reitman, nowhere to go as Harris, the rookie, right on him. Tim Harris. And you pressed old Tim yesterday about the fact he wasn't a sports fan. He said, yeah, you're a football player. What do you mean not a sports fan? He said, I like to play him. I don't want to watch him.
That's right. He says he doesn't watch any sport. Baseball, hockey, boxing. He didn't even know that Mike Tyson was fighting Trevor Burbick last night. Now, everybody knew that.
Well, yeah, I think Charles Martin might have been inspired by him today. Certainly a lot of these players came out here ready for pro boxing careers. 2nd and 10. Gain of, I'll call it a half yard. 2nd and a half. Good defensive reaction by Harris. Payton, the main man, as always, battles for about 5. Leopold and Greenwood combined to stop him.
Boy, did he take his shots there. He went by 3 tacklers, and each one of them got a shot on him. He's amazing. He's an amazing specimen. You're going to see Noble will miss him from the backside. Then he's going to get hit by Leopold. Then he's going to get hit by Noble. They're all taking their shots at him.
3rd down and 4. The word on Gary Ellerson, the play on which he fumbled, he suffered a pinched nerve and will not return to this game. A lot of players leaving the field of battle wounded. Tomzak sails up the fade, but out of bounds, intended for Willie Gump. Brings up 4th down.
Oh, Mike Ditka didn't like the way things happened there, but now it's on to the next play. The man of the hour, of the moment, Kevin Butler. As Tom Zech explains what's wrong there. He may have called an audible there, a checkoff to Willie Gault, and Mike Ditka probably feels that the play that it was originally called, I'm speculating now, that you got to call it, that he didn't want that play called.
Well, that is evident. He didn't have his clipboard to throw. He was looking around for it. He is an unhappy coach, Butler. Now,
he's not, and Ditka's not even watching.
From the 23-yard line, 33-yard attempt to send the Bears in front, and he does. But a flag down and some extra action again.
Kevin Butler comes through. We'll see what the penalty situation is.
The signal is roughing the kicker.
Looked like he was blocked in. That was Tiger Green there, but it looked like somebody had knocked him off balance as he came in. And if he is blocked, then you can't. Well, there, now, the extended play there, you might get something, but I think he was blocked in.
Number 23 was pushed into the kicker. No foul. Field goal is good.
Well, he wasn't pushed very hard, but it looked like somebody got an arm on him, kind of tripped him up there. It becomes a moot point as far as the field goal is concerned. They made the field goal, but Mike Ditka, I can tell you, was at the other end of the field, 30-yard line, walking away and not with his back turned to the field of action.
Well, you can see that he's fighting his emotions here. But his team is on top with 2:37 to play, 12-10. Would have been an interesting situation had they had a penalty and taken the opportunity to take the points off the board. 12-10, 2:37 to go. You'd probably just say your defense can stop Green Bay and keep the field goal, but they would have been in a choice position there had they taken the points off had the penalty stood. I was wondering whether Coach Ditka would have gone in that direction or not. We won't know.
At any rate, he's still upset. The Bears are ahead 12-10, but he knows that a field goal can beat him, whereas he obviously felt that they wanted to get the touchdown, and there's still enough time. One big play can do it, as we saw in the last Green Bay touchdown.
Yes, this is a long way from being over. 2:37 to go. Butler will kick it off. Line drive, fielded at the 15. Kenneth Davis. Pretty good field position for the Packers. At their 34-yard line, 2:28 remains. Well, the final, the Giants pulled it out over Denver. What a battle there. 19-16 to move to 10-2 atop the NFC East. Underway, Washington and Dallas will be going to that. Most of you will see it. Randy Wright continues at quarterback. Sore ankle and all. Complete. Lofton. Out of bounds. Good effort by Lofton. He could see the ball was going to be out of bounds. He would have to keep his feet in and reach over the sideline. Just couldn't do it.
And both officials signaled simultaneously, so they both saw it the same way. He's got the ball. Down comes the left foot was out. Both feet were out. He didn't have one foot in.
2nd and 10 from the 34 of the Packers. Right 10-28, 148 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Hampton, Dent, 6 Bear sacks today.
What a day for Dan Hampton. 6 sacks today, and you can see they flushed Randy Wright out, and Hampton weighs a lot. Big man, and of course Wright has got that sprained ankle, but Hampton got him by the ankles, and down he went, and the Packers are in big trouble now.
3rd down, 18.
The Bears had 39 sacks coming into this game. The Packers had only 16 for the entire year. They did have 6 last week, so there's a big disparity in these two teams because of the sack situations as far as sacks are concerned. But Dan Hampton, what a game he's had.
2-minute warning is sounded. Bears lead by 2. The Bears and the Packers, a traditional battle. The Packers with the football down by 2, 3rd down and 18. They've lost Cannon, Epps, and Ellerson from the offense to injuries during the course of this game. And Epps is a weapon they could well use now. Stanley goes wide right, Ivory left. Almost picked off by Todd Bell. McMichael with a hit on the right as he released the ball. 4th down. 1:54 on the clock. The punting unit comes on. Green Bay will hope to stop the Bears and get the ball back. Now, bear in mind, they've been able to do that all afternoon against the Bears offense. Chicago has scored only 3 points offensively. The field goal by Butler.
And I don't believe the Packers have 3 timeouts, which is going to put them in a bigger bind. I think they're down to 2 timeouts.
Bracken just gets it away. Carey was the guy closest to it. Lou Barnes takes it out of bounds at the 24-yard line of Chicago. 53-yard punt. Wind aided for Bracken. Eagles up early on Seattle. The Seahawks have to be the disappointment of the entire NFL this year. Kansas City scoreless. 49ers with the early lead over Atlanta in that key battle in the NFC West, and the Rams up on top of New Orleans. Some of you will be seeing those games, and the rest of you, Dallas, Washington, except in Chicago. Tomczak leads out the Bears, trying to move to 10-2. Walter Payton. About a 5-yard pickup for Payton. Ryan Noble and Randy Scott.
First charge timeout. Correction. Second charge timeout. Green Bay.
So the Packers take their second timeout, and that gives us an opportunity to bring you an update on Dallas, Washington. Here's Brent Musburger.
All right, Tim, with a lot of folks headed in to watch this one, the Dallas Cowboys will be trying to dig out of a big hole. Schrader to Didier, 71 yards, and it is now 14-0, and the Skins are so tough at home. Let's go back to Tim Ryan.
The Redskins in Dallas. With the Redskins on top in a hurry. Didier, he is dangerous. He's got great speed for a big man, and you see Schrader go to him.
Well, Washington's so tough to beat on their home field. Really difficult to beat them.
They're a good football team. Their record is a legitimate record, 9-2.
Well, I think the Packers are going to have to try and start stripping that ball. Forget about the tackle so much as to try and jolt that ball loose, and I'm sure that's what they're thinking about. As Jim McMahon, shoulder didn't get any worse, but it certainly is not 100%, and that's going to be a factor in the rest of the Chicago Bears season. How well can he get by the time the playoffs come around?
Right. I don't care how good the defense is, and it's #1 in the NFL. I don't think you can win in the playoffs or certainly in the Super Bowl with defense alone. 2nd down and 6. Calvin Thomas gets about 3, maybe 4 yards. It'll leave 3rd down, and another timeout called by Green Bay, trying to save some time on the clock.
Timeout. Green Bay.
1:26 remains, and the big play for Green Bay is next. They will have a 3rd and 3 to stop the Chicago Bears, get possession of the football, and leave themselves time to get close enough for winning points.
Goes to show you how important it is when you call a timeout in the 3rd quarter for some kind of a mess up or whatever it is. It can end up costing you a football game. It makes a big difference in this game now, because the Packers could stop the clock with about 1:20 to go and then get it back and have some time. But now the Bears, I would think, would run the ball and let the clock just run and run and run and eat up for another 30, 40 seconds. And by the time they punt to them, would be nothing, very little left on the clock for the Packers.
Well, that's a good point, Johnny, and yet they You know, again, with a young quarterback, inevitably you're going to have those kind of situations, especially against, he comes out and looks at all of this, you know, jumping around defense. The Bears shows you, and he's in his own end, and he doesn't want to make a mistake. And so inevitably you're going to get the odd timeout call.
Do you think he's going to smile when this game is over?
Well, I noticed his gum-chewing tempo was down a little bit, so I guess he perceives that the odds are with him to win the game. Will he smile? Probably not, be my guess.
The Packers' best chance, if they do stop the Bears here on this third down situation, may be Walter Stanley's ability on punt returns.
The Packers must stop them here.
That's it.
Calvin Thomas first down to the 40-yard line. 1:13 and counting. The Bears can use it up. And we'll move to 10-2. But not prettily. And Mike Ditka got to be concerned. The role that has been placed on the defense to literally win the football game today is not a comfortable role when you get down to the big teams and the big games.
That's right. They can beat teams that are average teams. The Packers have to be in the average category, but when you start to play the New York Giants and the playoffs and the Bears in this situation, you just can't depend on the defense to do it for you when you get in that situation. So a lot of it's going to be depend on Jim McMahon, how his shoulder came out of this, whether they're going to try and rest him again or whether they're going to keep playing him at less than 100%. That's the key to the Chicago Bears season.
Well, great defensive work by both teams here today. A gritty display by the undermanned Green Bay Packers. Clearly not with the talent of Chicago, but getting themselves up. Charles Martin a little too much so. But otherwise, a tremendous effort by the Green Bay Packers, as you always can expect from them against the Bears. And it is all over. The Bears have clung, literally, to a 12-10 lead. Winning points put up by Kevin Butler after the defense had scored the first 9. And don't forget next, most of you will see Dallas at Washington. Some of you will see one of the other 3 remaining games. For Johnny Morris, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Soldier Field. The final score, 12-10 Chicago. CBS Sports coverage of the NFL continues after these words from your local station.